Well, there goes the Daverhood. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Welcome on this Saturday morning, May 21st, 2022, to the 850th woo 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 episode of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio Podcastio Programmio of the stream featuring me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling and adorable wife.
Well, let me see if I can find your biggie crown.
Oh, wait, Joyce is going somewhere. You might get to see her boobs in a moment.
You're not seeing nothing.
Because sometimes she'll come on. You won't actually see naked boobage. Then we actually have ratings. But, so she'll come, she'll help me, she'll comb my hair or something. And you'll get a little bit of fully clothed side boob or something like that. Because she's like a head taller than I am. So when she comes on screen, I'm here. She's sort of up here. And the boobs move into frame.
Please,
and it's my favorite part of the day. What? Joyce is warning me to look. Keep your eyes peeled. Here we go. Look. No, come in, honey. You're too far away.
You gotta wear your biggie crown.
Why am I wearing it? Oh, because
850.
850 doesn't really. 750.
850 is huge. Come on, David.
I know, but
you're almost to 900. Come on.
Yeah, but it's weird how we make these milestones like 500. Boom, we did a big show when we turned 500. We had very special guests. It felt like 500, yeah? And even 750 felt a little bit like a milestone for whatever reason. 800? 850 somehow feels even less interesting than 800. I don't... Why? Why? I don't know. And 900 is going to feel a little more than 850, but 950 is going to feel, if we get to 950, years away. But if we ever even get to 950, it'll be like, so close, and yet so far. And then when we bat 1,000, I don't know what we're going to do. We'll rent.
I think the world will end.
It was going to end long before I reached the 1,000th show, because we are all going to die of monkeypox.
I hope not. I don't know.
I mean, it's like, okay, isn't it enough that we have COVID, right? Isn't it enough that COVID won't go away, even though it isn't the...
You think it's like Mothra versus Godzilla with monkeypox versus COVID?
Monkeypox versus COVID, what a movie.
Some sort of...
It's like dum, bum, 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 in one corner, bum, ba-dum, and the COVID germs going, like BA75 variant. When it's basically like a sniffle at this point. It's like, the only people it kills are 104. But it's still a disease and we can't eradicate it. So all these little COVID germs are... And then in the other corner, this big, brawny, pimpled hand. And the monkeypox hand. And it's monkeypox versus COVID. And everybody gets sick with something. And then at the very end of the film, you think, they have the battle, they both go away, except one person who's been hiding turns out to have both at the same time, and then he becomes the new spreader, because you always want a sequel to these things. So that's it. Like, I mean, can't we get a break?
I don't know.
Can't we get a
Just
break?
Need to be a little walrus friend.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't get... I tried sending myself a picture of this, and then I deleted the picture. I should have taken another one.
Oh.
But I think I talked about this last week on the Walrus.
He was very cute.
Oh. No, I didn't get to show it.
Maybe somebody from the teachers union will be listening and understand.
All right, by the way, this is a real, actual, regular show here. We're just randomly grabbing items in the first part of the program. Later we have a guest. Later we have our weekly trivia quiz. Later we have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. Later we're going to have our theater segment, Inside Broadway, where I review a couple of plays. Okay, fine. So, but for now we're just grabbing stuff out of the air. So my first point, my first thing was, I was just noting in one big concatenation of what the world and what America is dealing with right now. And it's like, it almost feels like, 2 years ago all we were worried about was COVID. All we were worried about was a pandemic that was killing thousands of people and making tens of thousands of people sick.
Yeah.
And it was horrible. And yet it somehow we feel nostalgic about 2020 now. Because if you lived through it and you got COVID and survived, or you didn't even get it, right? And then the vaccines came and everybody felt a little bit better and started living a more normal life. Now things are so shitty that 2020 is starting to look like through rose-colored glasses.
Let me know if you need your.
I gotta clear my phlegmy
Want me to
throat.
put it in this one? No.
No, that'll wait for tea later. But as a matter of fact, I make a great a thing. I'll sidetrack for a moment.
The thing?
A couple of weeks ago, in the local supermarket near where I work, I bought a flan. They have like a flan cake, not just like a little tiny dessert flan that you get at the end of a Spanish meal, but like a flan cake. I brought it in to work to have, occasion for breakfast for like a week, and then I didn't even, excuse me, realize at the time that I bought it just before we were going on vacation for a week, because it's a school district and when we get time off. So I bought it. I had it was good. I had it for like a day, and it just sat in the fridge for about a week and a half. And then I came back. It was still good. The expiration date hadn't even expired on it. But I had told people who were working during the week that I was away, so there's a flan in the fridge.
What they don't like flan?
I don't know what the deal is with these people. I'm saying, please, I'm on vacation. I wrote to them while I was away. I was like, have this flan. I haven't touched it. It is untouched by human mouth.
Who's anti-flan?
I don't. Well, the people I work with. One of them already. One hated flan so much he left the job and he took a job in the city.
Wow.
And then I come back and the flan is untouched still. I've had like one slice out of it. I'm like, what the? There's flan here. Eat the flan. Maybe it's because I don't bring whipped cream.
Why don't you tell them it's like a caramel cake? Maybe they were afraid of flan.
These people know what flan. They know what flan is, right? And then I come back and I'm like, all right, let me see. And it was still good. This is like a week and a half ago. I was like, oh, this is still decent flan. Everybody, please have. So it's in the fridge. Enjoy. I'm having a slice.
You should have left it for the mail woman, the woman,
Maybe.
The carrier. She would have taken the flan.
And days go by, and some days I have it, and some days I don't. It's a bigger cake than I thought. It's just a little cake, but for one person. And the days are ticking by. Already the expiration date has passed on the flan. So I shouldn't technically be eating it, but it's fine. And every day I'm like, I'm the only person eating this flan. This is upsetting me. It's free food. I leave chocolate out for these people. It's gone. I buy, of course, cheap after Easter, after Christmas and Valentine's Day. I run to the supermarket. I run to the Duane Reade. I grab these bags of candy half off, and then I as my people as I jolliver them out, I throw a couple of pieces on the desk, and poof, they're gone, right? Because everybody needs a little pick-me-up during the day. They grab a candy, boom, boom, boom. They have a little, Nestle's Crunch or Hershey's Kiss, whatever it is, and off they go. But a flan in the fridge, they don't touch. So yesterday I just had it. I'm like, there it is. It's sitting there. It's only about halfway eaten, and I've eaten it like 4 times already. It's like blancmange. You think you're getting through it, and there's more. Somehow it just never disappears. And I turn to my coworker and I say, "Quiere usted flan?" in my way, and she just had no interest in this. And I said, "But look at it. It's like sweet phlegm."
Who said that?
I said that.
That's why people don't eat your flan, because you say it tastes like sweet phlegm. That's why people don't eat flan.
Amazingly enough, that did not make her want to try flan.
No.
Because let's face it, if you've ever had flan, the consistency it's not like snot. It's like the stuff that you really bring up from deep in your throat. It's got the same color, and but if you add the sweetened phlegm. So I had one more slice of the flan, and tragically, sadly, after that I threw it out because I realized it's been about a week past its expiration date. It's starting to get less phlegmy and more drywally. It's holding together a little thicker now. And I'm like, yeah, I think it's time for the flan to go. Nobody. It was sitting there literally a month. Well cared for, in the fridge, no mold, no monkeypox on it. I was the only one who indulged in the flan cake. This was so much is going on. This was the most upsetting thing for me of this entire week. But the but speaking of upsetting, I was talking about being nostalgic in a messed up way for just a year and a half ago when things were awful. But at least at that point, gasoline was $2.50 a gallon. Now it's 5. Did you ever? I thought back the last time we had a gas crunch crisis, not the Carter years, but I thought, oh my God, if gas goes above what? Sorry. If gas goes above $4 a gallon, there'll be like a revolution in this country. This was back when probably George W. Bush was in office or one of those, and it's creeping up. It's going to like 3 and 3.5, and if this hits $4, America's just going to go berserk. Right now, I don't even know what the prices are in California, but on Long Island, in New York, we've hit 5 for regular unleaded. I'm not talking about the premium stuff, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know if you own a car. I'm waiting for the madness, such as it is, to happen. And we have the inflation, of course. We have all the bills getting bigger, and we're noticing it now. People were wondering why we didn't notice the prices going up and up and up. The newspapers were telling us, but weren't feeling necessarily because I'm assuming just a lot of people who did not lose their jobs in that first pandemic year didn't spend a lot. So they didn't go on vacations, they didn't go to the theater, they didn't go to sports things, they didn't spend thousands of dollars that they would in an ordinary year. And therefore, it's kind of like, well, things are more expensive now, but then again, I accumulated, 5 to 10, 15 grand that wouldn't be in my bank, but is because we didn't take that trip to England. We didn't go on a cruise. We did not even, buy season tickets to the Yankees, whatevs. So that's why people haven't really felt it yet. But it's like everything feels like it's collapsing. And I know things are cyclical. And I know, 5 years from now, there'll be other tragedies and other things will be just fine. But, did you ever think, insane inflation, right? Prices of everything, prices of gas, at the same time, I guess that's why they call it stagflation. It's like, you don't want to look at your retirement. Thank goodness. I'm never going to be able to retire, but thank goodness I'm not retiring now. Because you start taking out this money from your chia craps and your 401ks. And what is it? The stock market is down 14% from a year ago. It was up at like 35, 36,000, and now it's down to about 30. And all of this is happening in the middle of Russia waging an aggressive war against, another part of Russia, to be honest, but we'll call it Ukraine. Abortion is about to be overturned by the Supreme Court. Mass shootings everywhere, except that's been happening for years. And now, to top this all off, and COVID, of course.
Oh, monkeypox?
Monkeypox. And and 2 people have it in New York. I don't know how many more will get it. It's just, and is it alarmism? Do you remember when, a couple of years ago, things were messed up, things were bad, and then the papers go, on top of all of this, we have the murder hornets.
What? More murder
Remember
hornets?
the murder hornets?
No,
what happened to them?
Murder hornets?
Murder hornets.
I watch a lot of mystery TV. I've never heard of these murder
Oh,
hornets.
yeah.
Is that a team? Like a Florida baseball team?
I wish. No, remember they were scaring us of honeybees. This is another thing. Honeybees are being eradicated. They're dying off. We need bees for the planet, and we're now pollinating and all of this. So bees are in a shortage. However, one of the things that's killing the bees are these really aggressive hornets.
Are they called murder
hornets, right?
Murder hornets.
Yeah. So if you get stung by a pack of them, you're going to die. And they go into beehives, and they kill all the bees, and then they take the hive, and they take the thing. And this was...
so they basically are squatters.
Yeah. Squatters who kill.
Oh, God. right.
Yeah, it's like, and you know, this was put out by the same newspapers that were worried about Mexicans coming over the wall and bringing murder and drugs to our country. It's like, also, can we build a wall for the Hornets? Because it's just the biggest, most giant wall ever to keep the murder hornets out of America. It's like, Jesus. And we haven't really heard much about them, at least. Then again, we're just hitting on summertime. So I'm wondering, and I'll bet you, in like 5 to 10 years, they will figure out that if you take like the venom from a murder hornet and you cover
the murder hornet.
That's what they call it. If you take the venom from the hornet and you put it on someone's hand who has monkeypox, I bet it cures it. I bet they haven't figured that piece out yet. That would be
really good.
Yeah, that'd be
Are
great.
there murder hornets everywhere? Are they gone? Where did they go? You said they're gone.
I think they came from Brazil, or they came from.
Where did they go? How did they just go?
Well, like anything else, well, first of all, they're hornets. They can fly, right? They can figure out a way. They go in the air. You don't even need frequent flyer miles. They're just hornets. I mean,
they must have gone somewhere. They just didn't disappear.
Well, I don't know. Where do bees go in the winter?
I don't know.
Honestly, where do bees go in the winter?
Florida?
That's where there don't bees. Do be a doobie. Don't be a don't be. Yeah, no, that does. Like, where do animals, why don't all the animals die when it's minus 5 degrees out? Like rabbits. How do we see rabbits only in the spring?
I think
Where do the rabbits go?
Hutch. They live in a hutch.
Where? The hutch is still going to be cold.
I think it's below ground.
I guess. You know, think about that. Think of all the animals that we don't see from November.
Well, bears hibernate.
Right. Well, bears, they got all that fur. They could technically come out. They just need to sleep. But what about animals that, you know, who sees a rabbit in the middle of January?
I know pigeons go on the subway.
Oh, that's true.
They go on the subway. They do that. We know that.
Yeah. Like frogs. And we see turtles over in the local park.
Turtles go underground. I think they burrow, right, in the earth.
All right, so turtles can do this.
I'm not an animal.
You know, you see ducks all year, but the baby ducks come out in the spring. Where do the animals? Anybody out there who knows science? Because obviously I do not. What is this on my head?
I know you got wet on your head. I don't know why.
What is that?
Sweat.
Well, it could be. No, it's like a. Good Lord, it's not coming out.
Wipe?
No, I'm good.
Here.
I think it's off.
Here.
Or is it? What is this?
Here.
Do you see this thing?
Let me see. Look at me.
What is that?
You scratched yourself, I think.
Oh, maybe. Why is it white?
I can't see. It's gone.
Yeah. Can you bring your boobs more
Stop
into
banging
the
the
frame?
thing and no.
I want ratings.
Put it in the mouth. There we go.
Wait, come closer. Come on. I need.
Here's your toy.
Do not give this to me as a toy.
Oh, give that me back. Give that me back. Give that me back. Thank you. Give that me back.
Anywho.
David, give me your cup. I'll make you tea. Honey.
Yes, please. You have the cup.
No, that's the correct.
Yeah, this one has seltzer in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you know what that cup says, right?
Yeah, but I'll save that for you know who's coming on at 10 o'clock. So maybe don't make it yet. Make it in about half an hour. Anyway, let me tell you a little bit more about this program. It's called Dave's Gone By. Features me, Dave Lefkowitz, being insane for the first few minutes of the show, and then calming things down as I tell you what's going to be on the program. For example, Greeley Crimes and Old Times. I don't think I mentioned that. This is where it's from 2 columns in the Greeley Tribune newspaper, one of which are actual phone calls that come into the local police department from people who are seeing weird things happening in their neighborhood in northern Colorado. Also, from the same newspaper, our friend Mike Peters looks through real newspapers from 100 years ago and reprints the weirdest things. I'm sorry, what?
On again in Zoom. He was nice.
Oh, yeah, he was great. He's, Mike Peters, still, I think he's sort of emeritus at the paper.
He does stuff when he wants to, but I don't think, you know.
Well, no, I don't know if he's still the person doing 100 years ago.
Interns doing it now.
Maybe, or maybe he's still, that's his gig. He probably, but it's a wonderful thing. It's
he is a historian, right? He likes,
yeah.
He did that murder book, right? Maybe
exactly.
you should have him on ask him about the murder hornets.
I don't know if he would know about murder
Right.
hornets.
I think if anybody it would be him.
But anyway, Greeley Crimes and Old Times, that's coming up in just a couple of minutes, actually. We also have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. Joyce and I lived in Colorado for a bunch of years, and I got it into my head to write a poem a week about all these different places in Colorado. I am still doing it. We have more than 200 now, and I bring one to you every week on the program. And this week we're going to Genesee, Colorado. There's a place called it's like Tennessee, but with a J. Genesee, Colorado. I'll tell you a little bitty bit about it, and then I will read a disgusting poem that I wrote about Genesee, Colorado, or Colorado Limerick of the Damned. Also, we will go inside Broadway. As I mentioned, I went this week to a couple of Broadway shows, and we're going to talk about two plays that I saw, and they're both revivals. One is about 50 years old. It's Ntozake Shange's choreo poem called "For Color Girls Who Have Considered Suicide When the Rainbow Is Enough and the Latte Doesn't Foam."
Well, the end of the rainbow isn't enough, right?
This is. So this says when the rainbow is.
I thought it was when you consider suicide when the end of the rainbow isn't enough.
I don't. I mean, first of all, if you notice the way she's written the thing, there's a not a hyphen. What do they call that? A slash. There's a slash between the titles.
So
it's like two different big poem things.
It's an adaptation.
Yeah. Which means that For Color Girls Who Consider Suicide is one aspect of the show, and then When the Rainbow Is Enough.
Oh, I like that. Is that happier, I hope?
I guess, except the second part of the show has the most disturbing, horrible story ever. Not to be spoiler alert, but spoiler alert. Anyway, I saw this at the Booth Theater on Broadway. In fact, I was trying to get one of the producers of this show on Dabs Gone By as a guest this week, and just the press people, not for the show, but for this producer, just dicked me around for like days and say, maybe not, maybe not, and then like last minute, no, we can't make it. It's like, thank you very much. So it's not going to affect my review of this piece of shit. No, I'm kidding. But I will be reviewing For Color Girls Who Have Considered Suicide When the Rainbow Is Enough as part of Inside Broadway. And then just saw last night How I Learned to Drive. Two nights ago on Broadway, a revival of Paula Vogel's Pulitzer-winning. It's a drama, but with a lot of comic elements that is being revived by the Manhattan Theater Club at their Broadway venue, the Samuel J. Friedman Theater, featuring, and this is the amazing thing, no, there's a lot of amazing things about it, both Marion Louise Parker and David Morse, who played in this show 25 years ago, are back in it.
Wow.
And as is another actress who was in the original show. So How I Learned to Drive on Broadway, going to let you know what I thought and why you should immediately buy tickets. Anywho, not that I'm giving a spoiler alert right there, but okay. What else? And most importantly, we've got two other segments on this episode of the show. And one of them is going to involve someone Jewish. The great, the one, the only Jewish Rabbi Saul Solomon will be interviewing a man who has been a fixture of Manhattan cabaret since I started going to cabaret and reviewing theater about 30 years or so ago myself. He's a cabaret pianist. He does a show at Don't Tell Mama every month. And he's just been, as I said, been doing this as a life thing for many, many years. If you've been to Midtown Manhattan Cabaret, you know who Ricky Ritzel is. And, I got to ask him, what happened? Where's Spider Saloff? Because I remember when I first started going to all different things in New York, and the things I would say is that so-and-so is here, and so-and-so is at the Duplex, and this person's at 88, and then these shows, and then Ricky Ritzel and Spider Saloff. Ricky Ritzel and Spider Saloff. I'm like, Spider Saloff? What is that? I didn't even know what it was. I hear those two names, Ricky Ritzel, Spider Saloff. I didn't even know what it was. It was just cabaret, right? But they were doing that for a bunch of years, so we're going to find out what happened to Spider Saloff, and certainly what's been going on with Ricky Ritzel, who's having his next Don't Tell Mama show this coming week. He does one once a month, kind of like Seth Beeson Hirsch does once or twice a month also at DTM. So Ricky Ritzel going to be with us in the Daverhood chatting with Rabbi Sol Solomon. And Mr. Ritzel is going to stay on and play our weekly Today, Yesterday trivia quiz. This is a lot of fun. Just a bunch of trivia questions that I toss at our regular panelists, David Sheward and Leslie Hoban Blake. There's no prizes or anything. It's just Leslie has been running away with this thing. I think it was a tie the week before. She won last week.
Leslie's
I think she's winning because she gets more sleep. She like wakes up at 5 to 10 and then tries to log on.
She's very competitive, which I admire.
Yeah.
I think I'm more competitive with myself. She's more competitive with others.
But David Sheward was the king, and he's kind of slipping. He's slipping a little bit.
Because he's seeing more theater. He has less time to watch his cartoons.
Yeah.
And, his mother's calling a lot. Maybe she's jinxing him. She might be psyching him out mentally.
So, it's going to be a three-way thing here. David Sheward, Leslie Hoban Blake, and newbie Ricky Ritzel playing our Today, Yesterday quiz later in the show. This is why you turn into Dave's Gone By. This is what we do. So, why don't we get right to our weekly segment based on stories that are in the Greeley Tribune newspaper. We call this segment, in a criminal sort of way, Greeley Crimes and Old Times.
David, I'm going to need a bit of tea for this.
I know.
Give me 1 second of comment. You could
Yeah, no, I will vamp as to start the segment. So as I mentioned, it's very cool. The local newspaper does all the heavy lifting on this. All I do is bring these and share them with you. But the point is, there are columns in this real actual newspaper, one of which deals with phone calls that come into the Greeley Weld County Police Department. And some of those calls are like, oh my God, there's a fire. Someone stopped breathing. Oh, my house has been broken into. Fine, okay. Did you hear about that though?
What?
Man in Buffalo. This is like, I've been having issues all week with customer service dealing with my website, which by the way is down at the moment. But this is bad. In that supermarket in Buffalo what there?
I don't know if you put the sign up. I don't know.
In where they had the shooting, the mass murder of 10 people, 13 people were shot.
Most of them were my people, older people. That upset me.
Yeah, and they shot a child. The guy was just killing black people.
But more? How could there's an update or what?
Well, no, what happened was there was a woman there who was, I think, in the supermarket or near the supermarket, and she was hiding and crouching because she was hearing gunfire from this lunatic running around. And so she calls 911.
Wait. Go back. Go tell me slowly.
You'll remember this was in Buffalo, like a couple of days ago. The mass murder.
Yeah, but after that, you're saying after that.
Well, during.
Okay.
There's a woman who's calling 911.
Yeah.
And trying to say, hey, there's someone with a gun murdering people. I don't want to be one of them. Perhaps you could send a squad car over because there's a lunatic with an assault rifle.
It's a miracle that the person had the wherewithal and the space
to get
call.
the cell phone out. But because the woman was whispering and probably not making a whole ton of sense, the 911 operator hung up on her.
What?
Yes!
Wait. But 911, so I learned this. One time I did this at school.
Yeah.
On the school phone, I dialed, you have to dial 9 to get out, and I must have dialed 11.
Oh, dear.
And they called, and I hung up, because I was like, they called me back.
Good.
911 can trace your
Yeah.
call.
99% of the time,
So can
911 is.
police,
Yeah. But in this particular case, she got an operator
Yeah.
who was like, maybe they couldn't understand her or hear her
I'm
or
sorry,
thought she was incoherent.
Yeah, but when somebody's like yelling, or even if they're yelling and they're whatever, you can call them back and say,
Yeah.
"Why are you?"
Well, she
yelling?
ain't gonna be yelling. She's like, there's a
Oh, she couldn't hear.
with a gun. Or whatever this idiot operator.
Can you text 911?
I never thought of that. You know, I wonder if people can do that. Can you
I don't
text
know.
like help and text the address?
I don't know.
I think I would figure in this day and age you could.
I feel really bad that.
Or you can WhatsApp 911. So anyway, that particular 911 operator has been suspended. Darn. But can you imagine dialing like in a literal life or death, seconds ticking situation?
Good job. Like I could have been a nurse. I could have been something, but like that nurse who switched one drug with another, she switched like a sedative with one that they use in the OR to knock out people. Like people make mistakes because we're human.
Yeah.
That woman or man, the operator made a mistake because they're human. But some people's mistakes, when they're human, can cost people lives. And that's.
Yeah. Well, but what would have been really funny?
But don't they record the call? Or
I'm sure that's how they know. That's how she's telling the truth.
Oh
like the operator, hung up on her, or what? Actually, what would have been much better.
Why didn't they call back and just cut?
Well, eventually somebody did, or she probably called something. But imagine that you're calling 911. There's a there's a guy here. He's killing people. He's killing people as we speak. And suddenly you hear a little, and then it's like, your call is very important to us. Please stay on the line.
I'd rather have that than somebody hang up for Christ's sake.
No, I don't know if I want that. It's like, I still, the hold button is not helping, But I like, and you just keep hearing it every 30 seconds. Like, your call is very important to us. Please stay on the line. If you'd like to leave a number and have a call back, if you like this call in Spanish, meanwhile you hear in the back.
If it's gunfire, press 1. If it's a massive fire, press 2. If you think it's a natural,
Yes,
That's.
If a right-wing nationalist sociopath is.
But don't they have a thing, like in the banks? I don't know if this is true.
Yeah.
But I know at school, like we had I know because one of my colleagues pressed it. They have like a panic button.
Yes.
And when I worked in HIV and I would have to give people positive diagnoses, we had a panic button. I never used it. I was more afraid to press it by mistake. At school, one of my colleagues mistakenly pressed the panic button.
Yeah.
It locked the door. The police came. Like, don't they have a panic button in a supermarket? Like, we're not for the.
I can't imagine how.
But the manager, somebody, like, not. I mean, they must have some sort of like, what do you call it? Like emergency way to contact police, like a security system.
They ought
something.
to.
Yeah.
But supermarkets that were built in 1983.
Well, they can get like Ring, and you could put a Ring alarm in there.
Well, an alarm they got, and I don't know. And certainly banks have probably things where if you touch the wrong dollar bill, some secret ink spurts up and alerts the authorities or something. But I don't know. It's just like how do I get on that? How do I get on the well, calls coming into the police department. These calls were not hung up on. These calls went through. Although the cops probably could have hung up on a couple of them. So some of these are phone calls that came into the local police department 2 or 3 weeks ago, and some of these are things that were in the newspaper, in the news, printed back in 1922. Let's start with a little bit of crime, shall we? Here's one you might want to hang up on. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Yep. Yeah, good morning. Hello. Okay, I'm going to hang up on you now. I'm definitely going to hang up on you now. All right. A man in Greeley said he was surrounded by 5 guys sneaking out of holes in the wall.
It really scares me, David. Like, if you're hallucinating that must be scary.
Well, yes. Yes.
Like, I watched that German film that kind of disrupted my sleep. There was a child that was killed, and the killer dreamt of the child everywhere.
Oh.
And they said, "Well, you killed the child," and the person said, "They're not dead. I see them on the bus. I see them in the street." Like, that's scary.
Delusions are creepy.
That's scary.
Yeah. No kidding. we make fun, but like
That's
my
scary.
my grandmother, on my mother's side, she had glaucoma,
Oh
right?
yeah,
So and at a certain point, I guess Alzheimer's or dementia. So you know, she would see dots in front of her eyes, and eventually, whatever her mind did, she thought she was seeing rats scurrying around the room. And sometimes, yes, I would go and kill some rats, but mostly, no, she was just seeing these
I told
floaters.
you, Uncle Bob had bunnies.
Right,
I
yeah.
mean, he had PTSD because he was in the war. I mean, he liberated in victory in Europe. They went into like the camps. He liberated people because he told me those
Yeah.
stories. He was like horrified.
Yeah.
So he had a lot of that. But not only, but the pleasant thing about him with his Parkinson's, like his hallucinations were very sweet. Like
Yeah,
he
see,
loved
bunny
he loved
rabbits.
cookie. And when he used to fall holding the old cookies or sweets, he'd hold on to them. And then I'd say, "You're okay. Let me see your hands." He'd be sitting in the chair eating his cookies, which he loved. Maybe the medicine made him want sweets. The serotonin, the dopamine. But he'd say, "Be careful." I'd say, "Uncle Bob, what is it? A cookie? Is something on the floor?" He'd say, "No, it's the bunny." Like when you cross the threshold of the doorway, you'd see when you go from one room to the next,
Yeah.
you'd say, "Step over the bunny." So I would step over the bunny. And to me, that was the happiest.
Yeah, if I were gonna hallucinate,
I think they were pink. They were like pinkish white little bunnies. They were beautiful. He
yeah.
said.
I mean, can you think of a better? If you're gonna go a little bit mad, if you're gonna have
You would have prairie dog.
I would have little marmots, little prairie dogs, and boop, 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 boop.
Mm-hmm.
Or large-breasted 18-year-old girls. It depends. It really depends what my hallucination would be. I wonder if we'll get to that point where they can't stop people from having delusions and hallucinations, but they can tweak the brain so that they make them harmless and fun.
Oh, you can, sure.
What do you mean? How can you do this? So if someone is hallucinating rats in front of them, or they're hallucinating a dead child, that child can suddenly morph into, Marilyn Monroe in a thong or
They
something.
have virtual. What do you call that in English? VR.
Well, that's for a normal quote unquote person going into a dream.
There's so little we know about brain chemistry, and if somebody could really get into that, it would be great. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Anyway, this is my dream to do this segment, Really Crimes with Old Times, with you here on Dave's Gone By. Here's another call that comes from 16th Street. I don't know how I can tell by looking at the telephone, but this is from 16th Street.
How?
Yeah, I just feel it. Hey, 16th Street, what's up? Uh-huh. Okay, are you sure it wasn't a church? Oh, well, I'll check. A caller on 16th Street reported someone was on the property preaching Christianity and refusing to leave. I mean, it could have been, if that property was a church, you could kind of understand it, Or an abortion clinic, either one. But here's another one. A woman on 11th Avenue reported an argument with a neighbor. Well, she didn't say that she called. She may have shown up in the police department. She reported having an argument with a neighbor that resulted in her dog being kicked. Ooh. Later, the neighbor left a note hanging from her door along with a pair of pants.
Wait, for the dog or for the...
No, for the human. So the neighbor kicked her dog and then left her a pair of pants with a note.
Well, maybe he didn't have money to pay for the...
I don't even...
I'm not sure what kind of pants they are.
Oh, good point. I'm trying to make a dog pants joke, and it's just like... Because dogs do like to pant.
Yeah, pants.
Maybe. Yeah, No, we'll just leave that one. Let's do some old time stuff. These are items that were actually in the newspaper back in 1922. Fred Westfall of Fort Logan was arrested for drinking alcohol in Greeley. Greeley was a dry town, and this was during during what they call the Great Dry Prohibition. Yeah. Fred Westfall was drinking in his underwear at a local rooming house. When the police made him get dressed, they saw a roll of $450 sewed into the seat of his pants.
That's his bank.
Well, he kept the money. The judge told him, quote, You made a mistake with your first drink. But Westfall replied, quote, no, my mistake was coming to Greeley.
Oh, whoa! That's like, what do you call it? Your mama.
Burn!
That's
Yeah.
your mama.
That's burn, baby.
Woo! Let me know when you want your tea, Boogie.
Thank you, man. In a little bit. Two accidents occurred in the new sewer trench. You know that can't be good. Remember, this was in the newspaper back in 1922. Not one, but two accidents occurred in the new sewer trench being dug in Greeley. The first was when a plow crashed through the water main and the workers were drenched with water.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you know what?
What?
At least.
At least they're clean. Yeah.
Well, yeah, at least they were just drenched with water, if you think about it. And two, this is bad. The second was when the gas line was severed, and the workers were partially overcome with gas before they could escape.
This is what
It's like me on an elevator. Yeah.
This is what I don't understand.
Yeah.
If you get like gasoline on yourself, how do you get it off so that you're not flammable? Right? Like if you have gas on yourself, like how do you get that off?
I don't know. Yeah, because oil and water don't mix. If you go in a shower, you're still
I
beaded
don't
with
know how
gas.
you get rid of it so that you're not flammable.
You have to bathe in like sand goo or something that takes off. I don't know. I really honestly don't know.
That's disturbing.
Yeah. For those, by the way, Joyce mentioned Denver before. For those of you who want to visit Denver in the evenings, there is now a Tour 8 bus that leaves Greeley at 7 p.m. and returns at midnight. The cost of a ride is $4 for the round trip, which actually that's a good chunk of change back then in 1922. It's like $2 each way. But again, it boggles my fucking mind that in 1922 you could take a bus from Greeley to Denver. Nobody get on the bus, and boom, in probably an hour and 10 minutes, 20 minutes, you're in Denver. Now, you go into Greeley, Colorado, and it's like, you have to go Fort Collins, Loveland, get there somehow. It's unbelievable how just certain things, and I've harped on this, get better, and things we take for granted, and then other things, it's like, really? This aspect was life was better and easier 100 years ago? How? Why? You know? Anyway, let's do one more old-time thing. A Fort Collins woman, armed with a gun, was caught searching through Weld County for her husband so she could shoot him. She told police he was paying too much attention to another woman. Her gun was taken and she may be charged, police said. I guess if you go for intent, you can kind of get her on that. Well, I intend to do some elsewhere things. These are, we call them elsewhere stories because even though this is Greeley Crimes in Old Times, we like to go outside Greeley and northern Colorado for a couple of our goofy stories, real stories, actual things in the news, and share them with you as part of the segment. So here we're going to go all the way, very far away, about as far away as you can get.
Oh, wow.
From
How
Greeley,
far is
Colorado.
that? Very far?
Well, and Rabbi Saul is going to be thrilled about this because they go all the way to Delhi. Except it's
Which way, Delhi or the Delhi?
the Delhi in India. So he'll be a little disappointed to get the roast beef. What are you looking for there?
No, I found it. I was looking for something.
Okay. All right. The Times of India reports an Indian man was arrested at New Delhi airport for trying to smuggle gold. He was carrying $40,000 worth of gold on him, hidden in pouches beneath a wig. And where else do you think, Ben?
Underneath his hiney plots?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he had him in his rectum. Delhi Customs, which are really very tasty meats, by the way, shared a video of officials cutting his wig to reveal a pouch of gold glued to his head. Customs, I swear to God, this is from the Times of India. I love the deadpan of this. Customs did not reveal how they found the rest. You don't find that amusing?
No, I don't want to know that. I told you the one time in Sweden I was with Nat, and so they were patting her down, right? So they didn't want to look, like it was anything racial. So then they come to me and they start, patting me, and I said, at least you could buy me dinner first.
Uh-huh.
I didn't find that humorous, but when a woman,
Because they've heard it 50
but when
times
a
a
woman is
day.
patting you down, I also think the language thing, they were.
Oh, there's more to the story, though. Carrying gold on flights is not itself illegal.
Really?
But, passengers must declare the quantity they export and pay taxes on it.
Yeah.
So you got $40,000 of gold.
They always ask you, like, how much stuff you're bringing in and whatnot.
Yeah. So he was just trying to get away with, like, paying a couple of grand in taxes. But, okay, I get the wig. If they don't find it, you tuck it in. It's a little bit of... But, I don't know. To save a few $100s, is it really worth? Is it really worth? Maybe he enjoyed the feeling.
Maybe he wasn't doing it for himself. Maybe he was a carrier.
Yeah, I mean, he could have been a mule of some... Let's do another elsewhere item for Greeley Crimes and Old Times today. We're going to go to Kinross, England. Kinross, 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 England. Oh, this is sweet. This is just plain sweet. A British man set a new Guinness World Record last week, actually, by spending 36 hours doing what?
Whistling.
No. Wow.
Farting.
No.
Knitting.
No.
Singing.
These are all good, but no.
Dancing.
No.
I don't know.
He spent 36 hours rocking back and forth on a swing.
God.
Richard Scott, age 51. Doesn't this guy have a life? Age 51. He started swinging at 6:10 a.m. last Saturday, just a week ago, at a local cricket pitch, and he broke the record of Quinn Levy, who had a 34-hour record back in 2020.
Oh my God, I would have to take so much like Dramamine or something.
36 hours of swinging.
How could you do that back and forth?
But here's the deal: Scott was allowed a 5-minute break each hour. Guinness does this. It's like they did it when Jonesy broke the record.
For pee-pee?
Yeah, well, they give you, even when he was doing the continuous on air for 100 hours to break that record of being on the radio, you get a break. It's kind of cool. You can stop 5 minutes an hour and either sleep or do something.
That's like,
they allow that.
Honest to God, David, I would be so sick. That would be hell.
Of what?
Rocking and stuff. My
Yeah.
vertigo. I'd be spinning. I would need them.
But here's the deal. He was allowed a 5-minute break each hour, but instead of taking it, he saved all those minutes up and took a nap at 3 a.m.
Okay.
That's an interesting way of doing it, because you probably have about 2 hours there if you're going for a 36-hour thing, or I guess all the hours up till then. You've got like an hour or two where you can lie down, massage your butt, or something.
Yeah, but your butt's not going to be sore if you're rocking.
Really? For 36 hours? Everything's going to be so... My nutsack would look like a pancake at that point. And Scott said, here's his quote, "The tops of my legs are a wee bit sore," this is England, "but apart from that, I've been fine.
Okay.
I'm very excited."
And we saw this. We were in like the Hamptons, and we saw that Ripley's Believe It or Not. Remember that little annex of the museum?
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but I don't get the allure of like those records.
We don't. No.
They're not aspirational. Like I don't see like.
But I hear
What is it? Does it get you money? Does you?
No. You just get international fame of a sort.
Really?
Well, Guinness was a big thing in the 70s when they first came out with those books. Everybody was fascinated, like tallest man in the world, Arthur Wadlow, and the fattest guy who was buried in a piano case, and it was fascinating. We'd never seen them. We never thought of these things. The only thing you'd heard about in like the 1920s is people sitting on flagpoles for a night. Now suddenly it's like there's a this for this, and this, but it became a conglomerate industry, and they're still doing it. And it just kind of surprises me that 36 hours broke the record. It doesn't sound like that. But not something I would do.
Yeah, but how long did Jonesy go on the radio?
Jonesy was on the radio for 100 hours.
That seems more like excessive.
Yeah, I mean...
that's like over a day of rocking?
Yeah, it's a day and a half, literally, of just rocking on a swing. Back and forth, going back and forth on a swing. He must have great calf muscle, or quads. His quads must be amazing. But anyway, now, I don't intend to break that record. But it's funny, I asked Joyce if she wanted to try swinging And she just smacked me. I don't get that. Thank you very much. Let's go back to some crimes and old times and finish up this segment because we have our guest coming through in just a little bit, and we also have our Colorado Limerick and going inside Broadway and so much more to do of this episode of Dave's Gone By and our Today Yesterday quiz. So let's do a couple more old timesy kinds of things. These were in the newspapers in northern Colorado 100 years ago. The price of gasoline in Greeley has increased by 3 cents. Price of gasoline is now 29 cents per gallon. 29 cents. So even if you say, okay, well, 29 cents went a lot further back then, it's still probably about $1 in modern money, or $1.10, or and wow, 29 cents. Everybody, let's just all do this together. Let's just all here, potatoes with me. Let's all sigh together. Ready? Okay. Let's move on to something happier, I hope. A caller on club. Wait, this. Wait a minute. These. I think these. I mixed old times with modern ones. So here we go. Okay. Hello. A caller on Clubhouse Drive reported customers were leaving because a man was preaching at the golf course. Maybe this is the same guy who was talking about Christianity at the other building and wouldn't leave.
He gets around.
Yeah, he does. Well, if he's on the golf course, he's obviously a baller.
He's trying for a hole-in-one.
I wonder what drives him. Okay. Well, we certainly know he's a putz. Further, moving forward, a woman in Greeley reported a 21-month-old child.
Wait, hold on.
Why? She called the police on this. A woman reported that a 21-month-old child drank from a bottle the woman was using to feed a squirrel. Yeah, you know, it starts off, you have this inkling of something terrible and tragic happening. It's like, child drank from a bottle of...
some kind of like poison.
Yeah, no.
What is she feeding the squirrel?
I don't even... And drank, so probably water? She drank from this...
What is she giving a squirrel? Milk?
I wish I knew.
What do squirrels eat?
Well, I've been watching them eat seeds. When seeds fall on the ground, we have a birdhouse now that my coworker constructed, and when seeds fall, the squirrels actually... it wouldn't occur to me that squirrels eat, like, seeds and birdseed.
Aren't squirrels the carnivores?
I would imagine squirrels eat everything.
Yeah, I think so.
But it's nice to know that maybe for a snack, they like a little sunflower seed, they like a little...
Maybe that's like their flax, you know?
That could be. That's how they get their nutrients. Anyway, a caller on 16th Street... Hello.
Wait.
Hello, caller on 16th Street. Reported someone placed a biohazard barrel and a red pencil-sized item in his backpack.
What? What's a red pencil-sized item?
Wait.
Okay.
A backpack. This person...
Unpack
a backpack. I'm going to unpack this. I wear a backpack. Okay, I have a backpack. How... Okay. Someone placed a biohazard barrel in their backpack.
But biohazard barrels are usually bigger, no?
Yeah, they're about 15 times the size of an average backpack.
What was that backpack?
Well, that could be... Maybe it's a Samsonite, it expands. It's one of those. But if somehow you manage to squeeze a biohazard barrel into a backpack, is there going to be room for anything, let alone a pencil-sized item?
You know, there was this meme going around where people had, like, a backpack the size of a car, like as a joke.
Oh.
But how could you then carry the hazardous waste?
Yeah, I can't even. And were they feeding the hazardous waste to a squirrel? That's what I also want to know.
It's very confusing in so many
terribly confusing. Terribly, I can't even. So let's go back to, let's do one more crime and criminality thing here on Greeley Crimes at All Times before we bring in our guest. What? You okay?
Ah. Taza de té for the rabbi.
A caller on 35th Avenue. Hello. Oh, that's gross. A caller on 35th Avenue reported a teacher sprayed kids with Lysol.
I like it.
I figured you would.
I like it. You know.
Well, cleanliness is next to, I guess. Oh, let's do one more. A woman on 10th Street got into an argument over a charge on her card with a manager of a fast food restaurant. She said that the manager tried to lunge at her through the car window. Wow.
How do you get from the window of the takeout place?
Yeah, right?
Into the window of someone's car? You gotta be pretty skilled.
You gotta leave the restaurant, go out to the parking, to the drive-through area.
No, I think it was a drive-through, maybe like a drive-through.
Yeah,
situation.
right. But I'm saying that's the thing. How do you get? I don't think there's a door immediately, or maybe there is.
No, there isn't.
Yeah.
No,
so
they just jump through the window, one to the other.
The manager maybe tried to jump through his own window into the window of the car, which would be a little bit like sort of kind of a Superman move, flying through one window of the drive-through into the person's car. But then I would kind of like to see that. I would like to see like a McDonald's worker just get so fed up with dealing with people, and it's like, I don't have enough ketchup.
The customer's always right.
Oh my god!
What happens? I don't know.
Yeah, people lose they lose the thread. They do.
I'm sure
anyway,
you're working a long shift and things happen,
Well,
look at my arm, David. It looks like I was in some kind of thing.
Yeah, Joyce is looking at. She's got like these black and blue marks on her arm.
Why'd you
because
say
I beat her.
Black and blue.
I'm not speaking well
Peter
today.
Griffin. What's up with that?
Your black and blue marks on your arm, because Pepperidge Farm remembers. So.
Pepperidge Farm.
It's about a couple of minutes to 10 o'clock in the morning Eastern Time. This means we have so much more to do on this episode of Dave's Gone By. Most importantly, our guest is waiting patiently in the wings. He is a man who plays piano. He is a man who sings. He is a man who plays piano while other people sing. And he has been doing this for many years in New York cabaret. His name is Ricky Ritzel. And he's going to be talking to the one, the only, the Jewish Rabbi Sal Solomon. So as I bring the rabbi in, let me give you just a bit of Ricky Ritzel doing what he does. I'm just going to bring this down. I'm going to bring this mirror of me down. I'm going to move this over. And let's see, which one shall I think I'll do this one first. We're going to watch a little bit of Ricky Ritzel in action. If this would open, thank you. Doing his thing. And I'm assuming this is a Don't Tell Mama, because that's sort of his home base. And then, after Ricky, the next person you're going to see and hear is very Jewish. The great, the one, the only Rabbi Sal. Wait, that's a JPEG. That's not what I want. I need the video. Where the heck? Oh, here we go.
Go, Ricky.
Go, Ricky. Go, Ricky. Oh, Ricky, you're so fine.
You're so fine, you bum man. Hey, Ricky.
Uh-huh. Hey, Ricky. Now let's make this big.
Oh, Ricky, what a pity you don't understand. You take me by the
When we were putting the show together, there's a lot of great songs written for women. Terrific songs, especially in the theater. But, just top 40 from the entire 20th century of great songs written for women. And my director, Jim Lazar, and I were sitting and going through these songs, and, we picked one for every 40 that we couldn't do, and there were so many that we rejected. So here they are. just for you when he opens the door. Says I'm home. Beware the look in his eye. He'll tell you the mood that he's in. What kind of day it's been. For the love of him. Make him your reason for living. Give all the love you can give him. All the love you can.
Well, we're giving all the love that we can here to our guest in the Daverhood. He is a cabaret legend in New York. By the way, I'm not a cabaret legend in New York. I'm just a Jewish legend in New York. I am Rabbi Sol Solomon, founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. And it is a thrill for me to be chatting with the one, the only, the berserk, because I see that behind you on the poster there. Ricky Ritzel, 5-time MAC Award winner. He has been called the you're shaking your head. It's like 20 wins. More than that. That was from an old article. First of all, by the way, I need you to unmute your microphone so we can hear you, Ricky Ritzel.
How's that, better?
Oh, it's so much better. And welcome, shalom to you, Ricky Ritzel. How you doing?
I'm so glad to be here. So, your eminence. You were
Your influence? What was that? I missed that.
Your flatulence, whatever you want to do.
If you've ever smelled my flatulence, you never elevated with me. But Ricky, so how many MAC awards is it at this point?
As of last month, 22.
Mit Mazel McGlick. Which was your favorite MAC award? Is there one you're most proud of that you won for?
Well, I won the very first year they had them in 1987.
Oh my
so
gosh.
I've been going out for a long time, and I mean, it's been so much, a lot of work, but a lot of fun,
Have you won Bistro Awards too? You don't
5 or 6, I don't remember.
I was saying, after the first Bistro, after the first MAC, I have no room on my shelf. Did I win another one of these fucking things? Oh, just put this in the attic. God damn it. I was like, so to describe what you do, essentially you yourself are a cabaret performer, but you also you serve as the musical director, if you will, for other people's cabarets. So who are some of the folks that we will have heard of that you have accompanied over the years?
Oh, well, I've played for everybody from Julie Wilson and who else would you know? Arthur Prysock. You know who that is?
The name rings a bell. But, Julie Wilson, she was on this program before she died.
Was wonderful. Wasn't she great?
She was a man. And she was actually on the program after she died. She was not as good.
Yeah. I'm a friend of Joey Reynolds, who was on the radio.
Yeah, he's been on the show. We know Joey.
And when he was on NBC, WNBC, he would call me if he needed a piano player. So he had Arthur Prysock on, and Arthur Prysock wanted to sing what he's known for best, and that is the Lowenbrow commercial.
Let it be Lowenbrow.
Here's good friends, tonight is something special. I played that for him. Yes. So,
oh my gosh! Yeah. No, I'm excited by this. I don't know why, but I am. So Arthur Prysock, Julie Wilson. Who else? Come on, you must have.
Vivian Blaine, who played the original Adelaide in Guys and Dolls.
Yeah.
Ruth Warwick, who was the first Mrs. Kane in Citizen Kane.
Wow. So, stop right there. Did she tell any stories about being on Citizen Kane and working with Orson Welles?
She thought he was wonderful. She thought he was just terrific, and she was such a trooper. We did a benefit at a disco called the Tunnel, which was in. It's hard to describe because you know how the High Line has taken over, where the trains would come in with and this was a building where the train actually went into, where there were train tracks in this building. And they turned it into a disco in the late 80s.
Yeah.
And we were doing a benefit there, and we had time to kill. So she said, well, let's go to a diner. We came out, and I mean, it was over on like 12th Avenue. And it was just, you're walking over syringes and broken bottles. And here I am with this legend of the screen walking through all that. And she didn't give a rat's ass. She loved it. She was just like, fine, let's go eat and come back. And,
But were you playing? Were you a DJ at the disco, or you were working? What were you doing there?
no, I was playing the piano for her. We were
At
doing
the
a benefit
disco?
at the disco. Yeah. Um, like at 8 o'clock, they would do a benefit and then they would
Oh,
turn it into a disco after 10 or something.
New York is so crazy. I've got.
Oh, it was wild, absolutely wild. So, I mean, yeah, I played, I can't even think of the amount of people I played for. Because even in piano bars, when people would get up and celebrities would come in the piano bar a lot.
Well, so
You know,
do you remember? Was there one time you were ever starstruck when you're playing and you're doing your thing, or for someone, and then you look in the audience and it's like, oh, there's Son of Sam or whoever.
well, the John Gotti came in once, I remember, and
John
gave me a
who?
John Gotti,
Oh, wow. Okay, yes.
and it was like 2 a.m. This is back, and it was during a weeknight, so there was hardly anybody there. So he came in with a few of these lovely ladies and put $100 bill in my cup, and that was, whatever he wanted, he could have.
Yeah. I can't. Yeah, those women. I mean, well done, sir. Well, yeah. So how did you get to the place where you are one of the rare people? I mean, a lot of people make money or make some kind of living as a musician. They're not necessarily in Carnegie Hall, or they're not necessarily in a rock band that's making millions, but you've managed to carve out a very difficult niche of making a living as a cabaret nightclub. How did that start?
Well, the thing is, doing your own show in cabaret, you don't make money. You really don't. I mean, you're putting out a lot of money by hiring. If you hire more than the piano player, it gets really expensive with the bass player, the drummer. I mean, the piano player alone is not cheap.
Right,
Between rehearsals you got to rehearse between 20 and 40 hours to put a decent show together.
right.
And then it depends how many shows you do and publicity, and the club takes a nice big chunk of change from you. But I mean, the
So you're
living I'm
lucky to
making,
break even if you.
oh no, yeah, you usually don't. But you got to keep doing it. That's the thing, is longevity. Um, I make my money as a musical director, as a piano player, not as my own, not as
And
the
then
own.
your own cabaret. So,
Yeah,
someone else doing a cabaret show who is willing to lose a bunch of money will hire you, and you make a profit off their loss, which I get. But did you ever become a musical director for like off Broadway or regional theater, or did you ever do pit stuff?
I've never had any desire to do that ever.
Okay, so you just want to play one. Were you an audition pianist? Have you done that?
Oh yeah, I've done that. When I first moved to New York, I worked for Barry and Fran Weisler,
Oh, okay.
and a friend of mine was one of their secretaries, and she hired me to. I was everything from a boy Friday to a mail clerk to an audition pianist, and I mean they were doing a production of A Christmas Carol with Richard Kiley, written by Sheldon Harnick and Michel Legrand. It was going to tour, and I don't know where this show went because it just disappeared. And I was audition pianist for them for that, and that was quite an experience.
Why? How was it? Do you have any stories? Because Sheldon Harnick, God bless him, he's still alive. He's been on this program too. I'm just name dropping.
Oh, he's a great guy. He's so down to earth. It's amazing.
Yes, yeah, that's so. But what story? I mean, working on this Christmas Carol that never came to fruition, different from the Aarons and Flaherty one that ended up coming to like Madison Square Garden years later.
Right.
But
I don't know. I mean, I've never seen anything of it. I mean, I think it actually went somewhere, but I don't know where. And it disappeared them after they cast it.
they brought it first place to Israel. Worst idea. That's the one place like, oh, let's bring it to Jerusalem. No one came. And they opened it on a Friday night. I mean, just everything possible you could do wrong with a Christmas Carol show. Just not a good idea. Can I ask you, but again, like, you knew, when did you realize that you had, did you take piano lessons as a kid? When did that?
Oh yeah. I took private lessons, classical piano for about 13 years actually.
And was it a chore? Were you one of those kids where you learned it, but was it a chore? Or was that what you looked forward to all week? And like coming home from school was crappy, but oh, I get to play piano.
Evidently, when I was like 5, my parents, of course, were watching the Lawrence Welk show. And I walked up to the TV as a kid, a little tot, and then pointed to the piano player on there, who happened to be Big Tiny Little.
Big Tiny Little, I love that. Yes.
He was on before Joanne, what's her name? Joanne
Worley? No.
Joanne Castle.
Okay, yeah.
I say this because Joanne Castle
had castles in a.
Oh, yeah.
I get it. Yeah, all right. I get this.
Big Tiny Little was playing, and I said, I want to do that.
Yeah, I've got to say, my wife nicknamed me Little Tiny Little on our honeymoon. It was not good. Not happy with that nickname. I'll tell you that. But you saw this and you say, I want to be that guy. I want to be the guy who's tickling the ivories.
Yeah. And then they bought a really old secondhand piano in case I didn't want to do it for that long. They didn't invest that much money. But my piano teacher lived a half a block away. He knew my parents from when he was a kid and ended up being a professor at Duquesne, which I think he's still there at Duquesne University in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I'm from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, no, I'm still, oh, God bless him. That's, yeah, all right.
And then when college became an issue, I decided I didn't want to be a concert pianist. So I wanted to go in the theater. So I wanted to be an actor. So I went to the Pittsburgh Playhouse and did that. And that's.
So wait, you got to tell me, what did you play any parts of the pit or in college or in the Pittsburgh Playhouse?
Oh yeah, I did everything, Shakespeare and T.S. Eliot, and I did tons of classical theater. Because I was a character man, and they had very few character men.
Did you always have the raspy? I know I was born with this voice, but did you always had that? Yeah.
Yeah, as a kid, it was just a little higher. It was just it's the same voice, but it's.
What was your favorite role though that you got since you didn't become an actor past that time? What role of all the ones you did in that period, that fertile period?
Oh, it was so much fun. I mean, I played everything. One of my first roles was playing the guy who sells the God machine in Woody Allen's God. I was Phil Silvers, basically, because I had the glasses that had no lenses. And I said, hey, you want to buy a God machine? Here it is. Exactly. I love doing that. And, nice. Yeah, exactly.
Are they great? Oh, my eyes.
I remember Phil Silvers doing that once on Tomorrow with Tom Snyder, taking his glasses off and just putting his fingers right through them. I did Midsummer Night's Dream, and actually I was the third priest in Murder in the Cathedral that T.S. Eliot wrote about Becket being murdered, and it's in verse. But I was the monk that had to open the door. We did it in an actual church, a huge Gothic church.
Well, site specific even back then. Yeah.
Oh, it was amazing. And then I had to open the door for the soldiers to come to break in and kill Thomas Becket.
Right.
Well, they're very, very anxious about this. So I opened the door and they knocked me over.
Oh.
And after that performance, I called them. I said, "You sons of bitches, you do that again, and I'm not going to lay down. I'm going to come and follow you. I don't give a shit what the play says." but I'm not going to be happy about this if you do it again because I could have got killed.
Yeah, you could also. I'm just not going to open the door.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's going to live, so fuck you.
It's like, oh no, Thomas Becket is not. You're looking for Samuel Beckett. You have to take a plane to Ireland, kill him, come back. You won't be here. Anywho, we're talking with Ricky Ritzel here in the Daverhood. I'm Rabbi Sal, of course. Let me ask you. So you have played for so many people, new and no. What are one or two of the mistakes that people who say, "Oh, I want to do a cabaret show. I can sing. I love these songs. I want to share them with an audience." So the first or second cabaret show, what are common typical mistakes that so many newbies make?
Trying to do too much. You're trying to do. I mean, I'm all for pushing the limits. I think cabaret is right now is too safe. Cabaret was made to be a protest, basically. I mean, it started out as making fun of the upper riche, the upper classes in France and in Germany, But a lot of I try to guide people when I'm playing for them. I mean, they usually have a director, but you have to really be careful about not overreaching.
By overreaching, do they plan, and it turns out to be an hour and 45 minutes, or do they pick songs that are not right for their register? Or
Well, I mean, it depends. I mean, for the past 12 or so years, I've been making a living as a piano player for classes, cabaret classes.
Oh, yeah.
That a friend of mine started, and then she passed away, and her girlfriend took over, and she's doing it now. And we have classes on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 6:30 to 8:30. About 6 people in the class, and after 8 weeks, you put on a show.
Right.
And they sing 3 songs each, and we try to show you the mistakes that you have to avoid. Like you said, like doing the right material. Whether you're going to do a show that has a theme or no theme, I mean, I try to dissuade people from doing, well, my Aunt Harriet's here. This is her favorite song, you don't need this.
Well, why? What's? I know you like to push the boundaries, but what's wrong with that if they do a great version of Aunt Harriet's song? I mean, that's kind of.
Well, I mean that's fine, but you can't do a whole show of that,
Well, maybe Aunt Harriet has good taste. Maybe her favorite song is Boogie Oogie Oogie, followed by a Kendrick Lamar thing. You don't know. It could very well be. Don't discount Aunt Harriet there.
Well, see, that's sort of the problem that the cabaret's been going through for the past 40 years. I mean, any club now will book you if you can guarantee an audience, right, and it's all Aunt Harriet's. They can do that once,
And then you've got to build up a clientele. How do you get?
Yeah.
In this day and age, how do you even just Facebook friends? How does someone go about finding strangers who are going to come in and spend $25 cover charge plus 2 drinks to hear you sing a bunch of songs, and you're not Karen Mason and you're not a Broadway star?
Well, Dave, I'm sorry, Your Eminence.
Thank you. Much better.
If you said right now you're going to get yourself booked and Don't Tell Mama, I guarantee you, whoever, I'd say 10% of the people that watch you regularly will come to your show every single week.
All right, let's do it. I'm doing this.
I guarantee you. I mean, that's how you do it. It's one of these things where you get an audience either from on the internet is the hot spot now, because do you realize there's agents out there that will not take actors unless they have 3,000
friends on Facebook, and they do it.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know that. Understand? Because I know if 10% of the people who watch this show, they would come to Don't Tell Mama and protest outside the theater. If I was just like, you've got to be kidding me! You got to fumigate the place after he's gone. I'm just saying.
I would say I have a fruit stand on the corner. Just
now, Ricky, let me ask you some other questions. Since you've been doing this for so many years, what was like one or two of the worst hell gigs that you ever, where it's just like you're sitting there at the piano going like, oh God, no.
Well, it depends on me whether the performer was a nightmare or the one thing that came to my head was, do you know Jamie DeRoy?
Of course, yeah, she's been on the show. Yes.
Jamie,
I put money in my show. No, she produces every fucking thing on Broadway, but she doesn't do my show. But yes, she was on this program. Yes, what about Jamie DeRoy?
When Jamie was only performing back in the 80s,
yeah,
I traveled with her to California to do a few gigs, and we were booked at a club in Sacramento, which is like 3 weeks in Peoria, which I also did.
Okay.
But Jamie and I, we went to the club, which again was a disco after 10 o'clock, but she was doing a show at 8. And the owner was there and he welcomed us and everything and then showed us the stage. And I'm looking around and she's looking around and finally she says, "And where's the piano?" And he said, "What piano?" And she said, "This is my piano player. You just met him. He plays the piano for me." They were so used to singers bringing their tracks.
Oi.
So they went across the street to rent a piano at a store that they did all the sound stuff from.
Yeah.
To bring it, which reminded me that I read a story that Dooley Wilson from Casablanca.
Yeah.
He was booked after Casablanca. He was just so popular, and he was booked in a club. And he walked in and then they said, "There's the piano." And he said, "Well, where's the piano player?" And then they said, "Well, don't you play?" He goes, "No, I don't play the piano. I only sing." That's not me playing in that movie. That's not me playing.
I did not know that. This is new to me. Wow.
Isn't that wild?
That would not have occurred. I just assumed that he was sitting there singing as time goes by. No. Whoa.
I still never found out who it was that played that.
Huh. I didn't even. This is news to me. But tell me another something where like something maybe there was a fight in the audience or someone died or another night of cabaret that you will never forget, even though no matter how hard you try.
I can't think off the top of my head that are horrible that I wish had never happened because they're all really amazing experiences,
Or funniest, or.
I did for a few years. My friend Leslie Anderson, who has since moved to Florida, which means
I mean, it just. Are you Jewish, by the way, Ritzel?
I'm not. I was an altar boy,
Yeah.
But all of my friends are Jewish, and my ex-wife was Jewish.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that. Let's also talk about, because people may not realize that you were married, which is a surprising thing for a while. You actually, you had a son as well. And
yeah, well, I did. Yeah,
posting on Facebook. How did you get over that? How did getting over losing that?
Well, you don't get over it. You get through it. You keep getting through it, and it's been 12 years. Yeah, it's been 12 years, and we mark the anniversary. We go out of town. I've been waiting now for 3 years because the pandemic cut in on the 2020. We were about to go to Eastern Europe, to go to Vienna, then Budapest, and then Bucharest. And I was going to take his ashes because we always spread his ashes somewhere, you know. So I was going to take his ashes to Dracula's castle because he would have loved that, and sprinkled them at Dracula's castle in Romania, you know, in Transylvania.
Nice.
No, I think the minute my husband or my partner now and I found out that, well, first of all, we found out that he had been working on a cruise ship and with 5 other friends went to go cliff diving on their day off in Hawaii.
Yeah.
But to get there, they had to go through this river. And the signs all over the place says, don't go through here because there's lava tubes that just suck you in, you know, and that's what happened to him, you know, and he was missing for 5 days. So I when the water was mentioned, I knew it was over. He wasn't going to come out of this. And I think we decided we're going to keep going. You know, you decide subconsciously or consciously whether you're going to stop living and just stay in the house and never leave again, or you're going to keep going. And we decided to keep going.
I mean, as a former altar boy, I mean, how do you reconcile with you know who when something like this happens?
Oh, I you know, yeah, I still pray. I don't go to church that much, but you know, no, I always got scared because my mother grew up during World War II, and she lived in a suburb of Pittsburgh on a hill, and she said every household had at least one boy in the service during World War II, and there was a family that lived above them where they had 2 boys in the service and they lost both of them. And the mother was never seen again. And she never left the house until she was carried out in the 70s. So like 30 years, the woman never left her house. And that scared the living daylights out of me.
And this
But
is before QVC, so she really had nothing to take her time.
It's Dave. I mean, you're
I'm
Reverend.
not Dave, God damn it, I'm Rabbi Sal. Yes.
Show 'em your mug.
It's still the hardest thing for me to do is leave. The
Oh,
hardest thing for me to do is leave the house every single friggin' day.
Huh.
Because bad things happen out there. It's so irrational. It's so
you
incredibly.
live in New York. It's not irrational. Bad. You go past a homeless person who will stab you. It's New York, you know.
Yeah, it's just
Bad things will happen. So
yeah.
how did you? Let's move on to something happy. I mean, you were married for a bunch of years. Did you know that at that point you were bisexual? You did not admit to yourself, and now suddenly you're, you know.
She and I were completely open with each other at the beginning because she was the same way.
Oh,
And
I didn't watch that. Yes.
well, I was only married for 3 years to her.
Oh, okay.
I'm going on 33 with this one.
Mazel tov. Yes.
I mean, he's as Irish Catholic as I was, you know.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm gonna say a special word for him: potato. Okay?
There you go. And there's no famine involved.
So, how did you meet your hubby?
He did a show at the Duplex.
Oh,
He was part of a comedy team, and they did a show at the Duplex in 1989.
right.
And we started dating, and by 1990 we were together and moved in together in 92. And now we bought a house in 2004 in Jersey City.
Well, I was going to say Mazel Tov, but it's New Jersey, so I'll just say that.
So it's another suburb, that's all, you know.
So does he still do anything in the arts? I mean, who, you know?
Not really. I mean, he still writes now and then, but his 9 to 5 job is a proofreader for copy at an ad agency.
Oh, all right. someone's got to pay the bills.
Exactly.
And get health insurance. So this is a. So
Oh yeah.
how did
I
you
get,
manage that? Like, well, you've been married for 30 years, but were you ever worried about that as being in the arts and or were you paid by equity? Are you in equity? I don't know how this works.
no, I don't belong to a union. I'm one credit away from every union having to join.
Oh my God. I
You
love
know,
it.
TV, stage, movies, you name it. If I get one more gig in those, union gig, I have to join. But no, he decided he did one commercial that made him a good chunk of change for the Pep Boys. Remember Pep Boys, Manny Mo and
Manny
Jack?
Mo and Jack.
Yes,
And
exactly.
Yonkel, they don't talk about Yonkel so much, but
Uncle,
it was different times, Yeah,
Uncle Pep. That's nice.
yeah, they had the pep.
Yeah,
Let me. Oh, I'm sorry. What? Sorry.
no, he did that gig, and that was a sort of a down payment for the house.
Nice. Very
Yeah,
nice. And you must have the mortgage paid off by now. You probably have a very nice.
well, I think he redid it. He re-upped the mortgage to do some work on. It always needs work. Do you own your home?
At some point, I hope to again. I own my shul. I gotta hock everything. I hocked one of my payas that finally grew back, but at least that bought like some accoutrements for the bathroom. So I was very.
Oh, sure, sure.
Before we have people coming in, and Dave is going to come in and do the quiz with them and things. Let me ask you though. I think this was pretty recent that you are in the Guinness Book of World Records for doing the longest ever cabaret show. It was at the Metropolitan Room. What was this? Was that first band or what was all this?
Yeah, it was Bernie. Yeah, I forget what year it was, but they did this. I was involved in it. I wasn't there for all the hours because you would get 10 minutes over like 4 days. I think he did.
Okay.
And yeah, it was fun. It was. They would keep going over.
It was like 3 days long. It just kept right or something like
Yeah,
that.
I think Thursday to Sunday he did. It was amazing.
Huh. Well, it's kind of a long version of what you do every month at Don't Tell Mama, right? Like when people come to see your show, and I think it's this Thursday is the next one.
It's Friday, the last Friday of every month.
Last Friday, May 27th, and also if you miss folks, this week you've got Friday, June 24th will be the next one at Don't Tell Mama over on 46th Street between 8th and 9th. But okay, so like if people come to see your show, what are they going to see?
Well, I do 3 Broadway shows.
Yeah.
Every month. 5 or 6 songs from each show, and I tell stories about it, and I tell the synopsis of what happens in the show and how it got to be written, and some cryptic remarks, and tell stories out of school about some of these shows. And I have a great cast that I cast every month from people in cabaret usually, and the people that work at Mama's are a lot of it.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I've seen if people can go to your YouTube page, you actually have recorded a bunch of.
I usually put them up. Every one of them are usually up.
Right.
On
I think what's his name? The guy who runs Don't Tell Mama is
Sidney Meyer.
Sidney Meyer. He performs with you a lot, and he does a lot of those, which is really really cool. So yeah, I forgot to mention you should check out Ricky Ritzel's YouTube page to see an example of what you would see in person if you go this Friday. I know it's you had to pick Shabbos. It's on Shabbos night on Don't Tell Mama on West 46th Street. And what is it? It's $25 cover. You're gonna buy a couple of drinks anyway. You might as well. What a lovely way to spend a Friday night.
Exactly. It's so much fun. This week we're doing Destry Rides Again, the musical from 1958. With Andy Griffith.
He's not going to be with you on Friday, but you're
no.
Yeah.
His musical debut on Broadway.
Yeah.
And we're doing A Year with Frog and Toad, which was
I remember that. Yes.
It ran for a couple of months on Broadway with Mark Lynn Baker.
Right.
And Young Frankenstein.
Oh, the Mel Brooks show. Oh,
Yeah,
that's so people will do a couple of songs from those shows,
right.
and you can hear them and you can see them if you go to Don't Tell Mama with Ricky Ritzel this Friday. What time? Like 7, 8, 9,
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Nice early curtain. You go out. You have some kosher food, and you have a wonderful night. Now, I'm having a wonderful time talking to Ricky Ritzel, but alas and alack, I have to get back to my shul. A pipe broke. I have to mortgage off this other payas to pay for it. So, but don't go away. And Ricky Ritzel, you do not go away, because Dave will be here. So will Leslie Hoban Blake and David Sheward to play the Today, Yesterday trivia quiz. I'm going to share the screen so that we can play a little bit more of Ricky Ritzel doing one of the all-time great theater songs by one of the late and I guess the greatest. Here is Ricky Ritzel doing a bit, just enough that we can get away with copyright on Facebook here, of I'm Still Here.
Good times and bum times, I've seen them all in my day. I'm still here. Plus velvet sometimes just pretzels and beer. But I'm here. I've stuffed the dailies in my shoes, strummed ukuleles, sung the blues, seen all my dreams disappear. But I'm here. I've slept in shanties, guest of the WPA. But I'm here. Dancing in my scanties, $3 a night was the pay. But I'm here. I've stood on bread lines with the best, watched while the headlines did the rest. In the Depression, was I depressed? Nowhere near. I met a big financier, and I'm here.
Ricky Ritzel there with I'm Still Here, the classic Follies song from Stephen Sondheim. Ricky Ritzel, whom you can see coming this Friday night at Don't Tell Mama in Midtown Manhattan on the West Side, and in sartorial splendor, joining us on this Saturday morning, not just Ricky Ritzel, but the critic and writer David Sheward, and trying to join us. And she did log on time, but whether she can get through, we're hoping. The wonderful Leslie Hoban Blake, who is also a theater critic. We'll tell you about both of them. But David Sheward, unmute yourself and tell us how you are this fine Saturday. Unmute.
There you go. Sorry.
Welcome,
How
David.
are you? I'm fine.
Good.
Hi, David.
Hi, Ricky. How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you. I noticed the poster there.
Joan
Joan Crawford in Berserk.
a little Abner over there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, cool. And I think we have all our people here. Leslie Hoban Blake has just logged on. Leslie, you need to unmute. So make sure you do that. Unmute so we can hear you.
Give her the.
And no, she froze. She just yeah. But meanwhile, let me remind everyone that David Sheward is a theater critic for TheaterLife.com and CulturalDaily.com. So that's where you can read his current theater reviews. He also has a blog called The David Desk, where he writes not just about theater, but, well, most often about the Carol Burnett Show, but a lot of other things in politics and whatever else is on his mind. And
Whatever strikes me. I was just finishing a blog, which is why I was a little late joining you.
Shame. But I'm glad you're here. And Leslie, welcome. Can now, you're muting again. So if you could just unmute your mic and unfreeze, we can get you on.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Yay!
Hello, Ricky. How are you? I
Hey,
haven't
Leslie,
seen you in
it's been a while.
1,000 years.
I
How's
know.
everything?
Oh, yeah, it's terrific. Thank you.
I know, I read about you all the time, the king of cabaret. I know.
The king of cabaret. I love that. The embodiment of the cabaret tradition is what people have called Ricky Ritzel, who's joining us to play today's great quiz. And Leslie, how are you? Are you well? Have you had a good week? Okay.
Yeah, meh.
Leslie, did you come down with monkeypox? No, it's a good week.
No, as hard as I tried, no. It didn't happen, no.
Now, Ricky, since you are new to the Daverhood and new to the game, David, I'm getting seasick when you just sit down.
Best place to sit. That's all.
Yeah, no,
Just wanted to show us everything,
Yeah,
before he settled.
Yeah, Ricky, what you want to say something? I see your.
No, I'm enjoying this.
Okay. Well, someone has to. Okay, so here's the deal. This is a game called the Today, Yesterday Trivia Quiz. And it's just trivia questions we ask all our contestants, of which you are now one. You get 2 points if you get the question correct.
There he goes again. Oh, he's doing it again.
I just wanted. There were reflections. There are lights. You can tell I'm not like Madeleine Albright or Claire McCaskill, who is used to this.
I'm Madeleine Albright. Huh?
I always thought you were exactly like Claire McCaskill.
Well, I mean that Claire McCaskill and Madeleine Albright, when she was alive, were on Morning Joe all the time, and they were always in their kitchen, and the lighting was perfect, and they were all made up and everything.
I've got to say, you're a little hotter than Madeleine Albright, just a little bit.
Here we go.
Well, I'm alive.
He's a little more alive than Madeleine
I have a
Albright,
pulse.
too, yeah.
I have a pulse.
Well, anyway.
850, wow.
This is our 850th episode of Dave's.
I would have brought a cake, I didn't realize.
Oh,
Here,
mash
it's
it
an
up and-
imaginary cake for,
Thank
you know.
So here's Ricky. I will ask you a favor, and by the way, you can also ask your husband if you don't have one. At some point, you'll need a writing implement and a writing supplement. Oh, you're great. You're great. So, can you kindly give me a number between 1 and 6, and tell me what it is?
Oh, me.
You, yes, yes.
No,
When
it's
I
not
say Ricky, that means you.
It's not a magic trick. It's to get the order of the.
How about 5?
Oh, my favorite number. Ricky Ritzel picking a number 5. Okay. Leslie Hoban Blake, your number would be 6. Yeah, we know. And David Sheward, you're going with 3? 3? Okay, I figured. Okay, what this means is, Ricky, I have a, where is it? I'm going to find, here it is. A digital dice rolling website. So it rolls a one-sided die. And this will determine the order of things, and if someone misses a question, who gets to be on the tiebreaker. So I'm going to roll the die.
Did you ever hear the rules of the game, Ricky? Because we were talking over it. He
Well, I gave him the
doesn't
whole
know what's
rules.
going on.
Let's explain it as we go.
Yeah, there we go. 5.
What, do you have a hot date coming up? What's going on?
Well, actually, do you have a matinee, David? Are you?
No.
Oh,
No.
So we'll be here all day. All right, Ricky, I just rolled a number 5 digitally on the die, which means you get to choose. Do you want to go first, second, or third?
Third would be good.
Newbies always choose third. Okay, here we go. Ricky going third. I'm going to roll the die again and see who comes up. Leslie Hoban Blake, do you want to be first or second?
Yes, take a guess at what I'd like to be.
I think first.
No, I want to be second.
Okay. All right.
I like David to be the intrepid hunter who goes into the wilds, and then I like to sit back and listen.
When we had the old rules of how the dice were rolled on who gets to steal, then it was more advantageous to go later. Now it doesn't make any difference.
No, it doesn't really matter.
Doesn't make any difference.
All right. So we've got David going first, Leslie second, and Ricky in the order. So there are 3 rounds, 1 question per person per round, and then the tiebreaker.
Up and down again.
David, you get the first question and you vanish. What's going on here?
On rank.
Questions, Ricky, so you know, today is May 21st. So basically all the questions have to do with something that happened in history on May 21st. Okay, that's why we call it the Today, Yesterday quiz. David Sheward, are you ready for your first question?
But it's Ricky. He always says that as if that's what it's really about.
Right.
It's putatively about that. But it's just a jumping off point for him asking any kind of weird question he wants. So
Doesn't
just
complete
so you
idiot.
know.
So,
Tangential questions. They should call the
Yes.
show Tangents and
Tangential questions. That'd be a great.
Tangential questions.
And I was in the sun yesterday and I got myself some tan genitals. I'm great. So here we go. David
Oh,
Sheward.
you follow Tucker Carlson's
You're a
advice.
Tucker Carlsonite, hey? Oh, well, okay, now we
I
know.
missed that reference. Does he sunbathe nude? What's
No, he had this whole thing about if you want to be more manly, you should sunbathe your testicles.
That he heard that and then he put it out there. So for you to manifest it as well.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's a coincidence.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
sure.
it's not that nuts.
Ah,
All right, okay, I'm having a ball here. All right, David,
Ah.
I go and get the sack.
you
David Sheward, this question is yours.
Okay.
The year was 1499. On May 21st, 1499, Christopher Columbus is out, and Francisco de Bobadilla is in as governor of the Indies. This followed a campaign by Bobadilla to get dirt on Columbus for abusing both the natives and the colonists. Which of these allegations was not part of Bobadilla's 48-page report on Columbus? A, 5 men caught hoarding food were buried alive. B, a man caught stealing corn had his nose and ears cut off. C, a woman who insulted Columbus had her tongue cut out. Or D, Spanish women were paraded naked through the streets.
Oh, wow. Okay, this could be any one of them. I did see that Christopher Columbus movie, I think was Gerard Depardieu, or was it that other guy?
I think it was.
Yes, it was Depardieu.
Well, there was one where Sigourney Weaver was
Isabella. Elizabella, I don't know. I
Isabel,
didn't see that.
and they did say that he was mean, but they didn't go into detail. So any one of these could be true. So which one is false, huh?
Well,
Which
Columbus
one
was
not in
out.
his
This was
report?
not
Which one-
Columbus. This was
Which one was not in the 48-page dossier?
That Bobadilla dug up on or said he dug up on Columbus.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Buried alive, nose and ears cut off, tongue cut out, or Spanish women naked. I'll say the Spanish women being naked is false.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah. Why not?
Ole! You're wrong. That is not the correct answer. They would do that to the Spanish. So we have a steal opportunity here. I'm going to roll the die, if I can find the die roll thing again. Where'd it go?
That's what you said last night.
Oh, where is it? Hold on. Here it is.
I
Okay.
said that too.
Aha. Oh, it came up number 3, but David, you already went. Leslie Hoban Blake, number 6.
I would have agreed with you, David, but actually, no, I wouldn't have agreed with you because Queen Isabella was Spanish, right? It was Queen Isabella of Spain. So if he did something like that, it would have been really stupid.
Yeah. But he did, evidently.
Oh,
He did. Yeah.
Evidently, I know.
False, which was not.
I'm agreeing. Okay,
false,
so
but Bobadilla could have made them up. But what was in his report?
Yeah. Allegedly.
Right.
I would imagine that it would be A, the guys who stole food being buried alive.
Is that your final answer?
Wait. That sounds true, actually. What was B again?
B is a man caught stealing corn had his nose and ears cut off.
Let's go with B. That's false.
And then they stuck the corn cob in the hole.
That's what she said. Yes, Colonel, yes. But Leslie Hoban Blake, I'm afraid that answer was cute and corny, but not correct. So, Ricky Ritzel, you have a 50-50 shot of putting 2 points on the board if you get the right answer. And don't forget checking whatever your checkbook or whatever that is that you're holding there. No, there's no cheating, no looking at
Just a notebook, I hope.
Okay. Oh, to write up. You can choose. Is it A, 5 men caught hoarding food were buried alive, or C, a woman who insulted Columbus had her tongue cut out?
I think it was the woman with the tongue. A nice tongue sandwich.
Yeah.
Final answer?
D, or with a C, whatever that was.
That would have been C.
Wrong.
You got us again. Huh?
I blanked you all on that. Nope, it was the men caught hoarding who were.
Yeah, I almost had it and I gave it back, right?
You
Yes.
did. I was
Back,
like,
yeah.
oh, almost Leslie.
Before we move on to my question, David Sheward, are
Yeah.
you watching the New Kids in the Hall? This is
Not
now
yet.
30 years later. Okay, you have to watch the episode, I don't know which number it is, in which they say goodbye. They say goodbye to the old glory hole. Buddy says goodbye to the old glory hole.
Well, why would you say that?
You were just talking about corn cobs and holes. for
Oh,
God's sake.
oh.
What, do you think I just suddenly thought of a glory hole
Oh.
in you? No, it wasn't that.
Well, you know.
There was a reference point.
David,
Yeah.
get your mother.
No, I think not. I
Don't
think
tell
not.
David to get his mother.
Okay. Well, we have a glorious game here. It's called the Today Yesterday Quiz. Not unfortunately, I'm kind of proud that I stumped the panel with the first question, but we're just beginning here because now Leslie, who has been, I think you tied 2 weeks ago and you won last week, so you are the
Yeah,
reigning
Yeah.
champion.
Thank you for remembering.
This question goes directly to you. The year was 1602. Looking through his spyglass, English sea captain Bartholomew Gosnold beholds the coastline near Cape Cod and discovers a seemingly uninhabited area filled with wild grapes. He names it Martha's Vineyard, after his late daughter Martha. But which of these is false about Martha's Vineyard? A, it's one of only 5 place names in the United States that has an apostrophe. B, the Indian name for the area translates to land amid the streams. C,
And amid the what? I'm sorry.
land amid the streams.
Thank you.
Sure, of course. C, American Sign Language developed out of a language used by the deaf community of Martha's Vineyard. Or D, Gene Wilder and Gilda Radner are buried together in a cemetery there.
Which is false.
Which is false?
One of these is false.
I'd like to think that Gilda and Jean are buried together. I don't know where, but it'd be nice to think that. So the false one.
Right.
The false one. These are also, I've written them down. That's what I'm looking at. What was number 2? Oh, that was land amid the streams. Okay, land amid the streams. Martha's Vineyard.
That was before
Martha's
now.
Vineyard have a lot of water. I mean, aside from the obvious sound and whatnot, does it have more water than that? Martha's Vineyard. I don't know. I'm asking myself that question. I'm not asking you guys. Which is false. I'm going to say that it's A, that there are more than 5 words, more than 5 names with apostrophes.
Is that your final answer?
Sure, why not?
Well, let me tell you about Leslie apostrophe S's answer. It's incorrect. I'm very sorry about that. So we have another steal opportunity. As you can see, Ricky, these questions are basically guessing for most of this. And it's rather difficult to get any points at all. Sorry, I just had a number 2 come up. All right, and now we're going to roll. See, Ricky hasn't the poo humor yet. Ricky, though, I just rolled in number 5. So the floor is yours.
I think the false one is the one that Leslie was wondering about, and the streams and I think, yeah.
So you're saying it is false that the Indian name for the area, Martha's Vineyard, translates to land amid the streams.
Yeah, I think that's not right.
Final answer?
Yes, just a gut feeling.
Well, I wish I could give you a soft place to land, but that is not correct. So, David Sheward, you now get the steal opportunity.
All right. So it's either Martha's Vineyard, the American Sign Language evolved from the deaf community in Martha's Vineyard, or Gene Wilder and Gilda Radner are buried together. Now, both of these sound like they could be true. I don't know where. I don't know. I mean, I remember in The Miracle Worker, Annie Sullivan says that the sign language evolved from monks taking a vow of silence, and that there are different sign languages in different countries.
Is there an apostrophe in that?
Yeah.
There's a
no,
silent one. Yeah.
Yeah, and there are more than 5 places. So it's I got a 50-50 chance here. I'll say the deaf thing is not correct.
What?
Oh,
Final answer?
yes, yes.
Well, you're not going to be happy to hear this.
Uh,
I'm afraid I stumped the panel again. Yeah, here's the deal. John Belushi is buried in Martha's Vineyard.
That's what I was, David, I was going to say something to you, but I didn't think it was allowed. If I said, David, John Belushi's there, but not Gilda Radner.
oh, where are they buried?
No, you can't say, you can't give the actual answer. You can say that John Belushi is there, but you can't say no, the others aren't.
Well, that would be helping.
Right.
But Gilda is buried in Connecticut, and Gene Wilder, I think he has a tombstone somewhere, but his ashes were scattered. So,
well, that's a shame. I mean, it would be nice if they were together. They were such a wonderful couple.
Makes me think of the sketch on Saturday Night Live where John Belushi is an old man with the original cast.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And he's dancing,
thinking about, yes,
grave. And ironically, the dictionary definition of irony, he was the first one to die.
Right.
Wow. All right, so
indeed.
We have a 0-0 game, 0-0-0 game.
That means we're tied. Hey, that's good. We're all tied.
Yes, that is good.
But our guest, our new visitor to the Daverhood, Ricky Ritzel, can put 2 points on the board if he gets this question correct on the Today-Yesterday game. On Dave's Gone By, it's a couple of minutes to 11 o'clock, by the way, Eastern Time in the Daverhood. Our 850th episode, we're calling it, get it, putting on the Ritzel. Putting on the Ritzel.
Oh,
putting on the Ritzel. I haven't had my Rick and Morty shirt in honor of
Nice.
Ricky Ritzel joining us. But Ricky, can you get this question correct? Let's see. The year was 1819.
I remember it well.
Introduced in the U.S. today is Carl Friedrich Christian Ludwig Freiherr Drais von Sauerbrann's invention.
What?
The fast walker.
David, say that in high German, please.
Well, it's actually a 2-wheeled bicycle, albeit one without pedals. And it started the craze for mechanized transport. But this velocipede was not Carl Friedrich Christian Ludwig Freiherr Drais von Sauerbrann's only invention. Well, no. Carl Friedrich Christian Ludwig Freiherr Drais von Sauerbrann also invented early versions of all but one of these. A, typewriter, B, steno machine, C, meat grinder, D, water fountain.
Wait.
And you said you're not Jewish.
What were the first two?
Okay, I'll do them again. A, typewriter, B, steno machine, C, meat grinder, D, water fountain.
Well, the first two are alike, but the second two are not that much alike. I'm going to say D, water fountain.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, why not?
So I'm trying to play Handel's water music here, but it's not really working out. But grab yourself some hydrogen. In fact, grab yourself 2 hydrogens and some oxygen, because you have 2 points on the board, Ricky Ritzel! Yay! Yay! This is as exciting as this program gets.
I remember pictures of that walking thing with the two wheels, and the guy just stands in the middle and walks with it. There are no pedals. You don't sit down on it. You just walk in it.
Well,
it's
really,
really
you kind of lift your legs and go vroom forward, can't you? You can kind of
No. They actually showed it on some show once, and you just walked, but you could walk really fast, and it gave you balance. Not unlike a walker. I mean, I use a walker, so you know, it could be an early prototype for a walker because there was balance, and then you could run.
I did see. I was wondering why that without the pedal.
Yeah, but you couldn't sit down. It didn't get you any. You know, I mean, it was not a mode of transportation. It was well, yes, but imagine, you know, there was no comfort involved or anything like that. It was just, you know.
I mean, you know, 15 women lost their virginity on the first velocipede. It was just like,
So they said, yes, right.
Horseback riding.
Horseback riding, right.
Well, at the end of round 1 of our Today Yesterday quiz, in the
It's
lead
Ricky.
is Ricky Ritzel, our brand new
Ritzel.
visitor to the Daverhood. Yay!
Like I said, king of cabaret.
But anything can happen because we have 2 more rounds and more questions to go. And David Sheward, you can tie Ricky if you get this.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, May 21st, 1881. In Dansville, New York, Clara Barton establishes the American Red Cross and becomes its first president.
Ah, okay.
Which of these is false about this famous Civil War nurse? A, within hours after she died, as per her instructions, her personal effects were auctioned off to help fund the burials of dead soldiers. B, as a teenager, she worked for a house painter and loved every minute of it. C, in her 30s, Barton worked for the U.S. Patent Office and was paid the same salary as her male colleagues. Or D, she suffered from depression and even considered suicide.
Which is false.
Which
Right.
of these is false about
And that's
Clara Barton?
interesting that bit you added about she worked for a house painter and loved every minute of it. I don't see how that's relevant, you know?
Okay.
Did she write in her diary, today we painted a house. Boy,
I loved
loved it."
every minute of it.
The mixing
Loved it,
part was just a
loved it,
bit.
Yeah,
loved
and we got the rollers out today. Ooh, I swooned.
Tomorrow we spackle. You know,
That's exciting. Listen.
Yeah.
You know, none of these details are in the Gilded Age, where she's played by Linda Emond
Yes, indeed.
in 2 or 3 episodes. Okay, so we have an A and 2 D's so far. So I don't think it's another D. The house painting thing, I don't know. That's just so weird that she loved every minute of it. So that means it's real. And she worked, I think that C is false.
They're saying it is false that in her 30s, Barton worked for the U.S. Patent Office and was paid the same salary as.
Yeah, why not?
Well, David Sheward, I would not patent that answer of yours. It is not the correct one. She really did work, and it was a big thing. She was, the true story before I get to the other questions is she was being paid the same as a man. Then a new boss came in and said, well, and they demoted her because they didn't want a woman making that much money, and she was really angry about that.
Yeah, it sounded, but that explains that.
Rolling the die, we come up with David's number 3, so we roll again.
Probably worked as a house painter and hated it.
Leslie Hoban Blake, do you agree with David that it might be?
I was just about to say, it was exactly my thought was that she hated it. It's so like her to auction her things off to the benefit of the soldiers. I mean, that was her. I was surprised to see her all dressed up in the Gilded Age because I thought she always stayed on the front lines. You know, I didn't know that she actually went around soliciting money, but that makes sense. The depression thing, I would think that she was depressed if she worked around dying soldiers all the time. So I'm confused. I'm going to go with the house painting just because David was so convincing. If I get it wrong, it's your fault, David.
Final answer?
That was my plan all along.
That was your plan. I know, his evil plan. Go ahead, B.
Even strokes, painting the xylophone here. And Leslie, you have a brush with greatness on this question, but it has eluded you, I'm afraid, getting the little page. So, no, she did. She worked for a house painter and she loved it. She was just really, really into it.
What she wrote in her diary, I loved it.
She did. Sure, and I loved it.
I don't
With
know about
exclamation
every
point.
minute of it, but she really was just fascinated by it. Ricky Ritzel, you can actually take a 4-point lead because this question now goes to you. You have a 50-50 shot.
And this is either depressed or giving her clothes away.
Auctioning them off.
Auctioning her personal effects.
After she's dead.
Right. Well, she did it before.
What?
I mean, after
Why
she
do I
became so much
why do
money.
I feel like this is what's my line in hell?
Hey. Thank you, Ricky.
Listen,
Oh,
you know,
and your
there's no
feed.
doubt you're already-
We've lost your feed, right?
Is it? Well, it's bigger than a bread box. I'll tell you that much.
Waiting room purgatory.
Yeah. All right. All right. Welcome to What's My Line in Hell. Ricky, do you have an answer for us?
Who did you say I was on What's My
Arlene-
Line in Hell?
Arlene
You're
Francis, of
Francis,
course.
there's no doubt.
Arlene Francis. Okay,
Oh, and I always
I'll take
compare.
that.
I always compare her to Brett Summers.
Well,
You
I
do,
get
I know.
that.
You're,
Are you-
What you're all saying is I'm an old
No
broad.
doubt.
That's what you're all saying. I got it.
very dry, very humorous, but
Yes,
dry.
right. Mhm.
And of course, Dave is John.
Yes.
John
John
Charles
Wilkes
Daly.
Booth. He's John Wilkes Booth.
No, John Charles Daly.
Mustache.
John Wilkes Booth.
Yeah, I'm just taking my shot here. You know. Oh, okay.
I'm going to say the clothes that she did not have her clothes auctioned off.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, I know it's wrong, but it's all right.
That never stopped anybody.
And the winning bid for 2 points goes to Ricky Ritzel.
Whoa.
Oh,
Ricky, wow.
it's true.
Because what happened was, what actually happened, she died, and then 100 years later, construction workers were going to demolish this building that she was in.
Oh.
They found the room, and all her effects were there.
Oh,
So they turned that they said, "Oh, we gotta save this stuff and turn it into a museum," which they did.
Oh,
So,
how cool.
Yeah, so that's pretty neat.
She was quite, given the time period and whatnot, she was such a forward thinker and such an extraordinarily courageous woman, really and truly.
Yeah, no, it made me mad of what the Red Cross turned into in terms of
Yes,
the other
yes,
way.
I agree with you. I agree with you there.
Yeah.
But the concept and going to the front lines and just being so brave.
Oh,
It's all the bureaucracy that takes over, it's just
Well,
ridiculous.
but I remember as a little girl reading all the biographies in the children's section. They had Clara Barton and Nightingale. I mean, everybody, but men and women both. And it was so interesting in the dark ages when I was a little girl to read about courageous women. They were not prominent in the history books or anyplace else. So it was that was about it. There was I didn't have TV when I was really
Oh,
little.
sure.
Wait,
So I didn't have anything to look at. What?
When did you first get TV, Les?
this
When
was
I was a little older than I started to read at 4.
well.
So I was reading books at 4. So
Dave, yeah.
No, I was just gonna make a joke about this was just before or after the battle of
electricity.
Gettysburg.
What?
Before and after the battle of Gettysburg.
We insult each other with love here in the Daverhood on the Today Yesterday quiz.
I'm trying to remember, David. It gets very fuzzy whether it was before or after. You know how those dates are?
Yeah.
Well, Leslie,
2 days before, 2 days after. It's all the same thing.
Now, Leslie, I need you to keep your brain clear now because this next question goes directly to you, and you can put 2 points on.
By the way, David, ADDA. So I have ADDA.
Americans with Disabilities. There you go.
That's my morning disease.
Everybody
now.
on the show
EDA is what?
The letter system is ADDA.
Oh,
so
I get. Okay. Yeah, we're up to ADD.
there
Oh,
is no such disease. I just made it up. It's a special one just for this show.
Oh.
Here we go, Les. Here we
Saturday
go.
morning from 10 to 12.
From hell. From hell.
From hell.
Yes. What's my line in hell? 1892 was the year, Leslie. Premiering tonight in Milan. Ruggero Leoncavallo's classic opera Pagliacci, which got mixed reviews but was a smash with the public. Which of these is true about Leoncavallo? A. Though Caruso's recording of Vesti la Juba was a smash, the tenor never got around to recording any other Leoncavallo arias. B. He wrote a sequel to Donizetti's The Elixir of Love, in which the lead character happily goes from newfound riches back to rags again. C. He had a feud with Giacomo Puccini because both were trying to adapt La Bohème into an opera. Or D. He was writing an opera about Lord Byron, but then scrapped it halfway to work on an adaptation of Byron's Don Juan. Only one of these is true.
I'm going to say that he had a feud with Puccini over
Thinking
La
that-
Bohème.
Yeah.
Is that your final answer?
I don't know why, but that jumped out at me as sounding real. Wait, is it false or true?
True.
All right, let's do this.
Yes, okay, that's the one that jumped out at me as being true.
as being true
True.
that he had, if we were Giacomo Puccini.
The others are all plausible, but this one sounds true.
Well, you almost screwed the pooch there, okay, Puccini. But no, you got that right. That is absolutely the correct answer. Both both
Yay.
Cavallo and Donizetti wrote. I'm sorry, and Puccini, pardon me, wrote La Boheme. So they were both performed, and they're both extant operas. But Puccini's was a bit more famous.
Yes, and you
So
know,
it's like Phantom of the Opera with Maury Easton and Weber.
Right.
Yes,
At
exactly.
the same time, they're both.
Exactly.
but you know, there is a little known sequel to The Elixir of Love, and it's called The Laxative of Love.
Really? How long did it run?
Oh,
This is a joke for Dave. It's right up his alley.
Quite literally. Oh.
I know. I gave it to you, Dave. You had to take it.
Or there's another one after that called The Suppository of Love.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wasn't that a in that song, the Pompatus of Love? Wasn't that an alternate line
yeah.
for the Pompatus of Love?
Yeah, it's Scott Rudin's next production.
Anyway, by the way, Leslie, congratulations. You have 2 points on the board. You are only 2 points behind Ricky Ritzel in our Today Yesterday quiz. But
Well, we've been letting you win, Ricky. Now we're really playing for
okay.
real.
All right. I'll put on my boxing gloves for sure.
Yeah, put on your boxing gloves.
well,
sweetie.
you have a
That's it.
shot here, Ricky, because you can add 2 more points. This next question goes directly to you. So let's see how you do. The year was 1932. Amelia Earhart, lands in Londonderry, Northern Ireland, completing her 17-hour flight from Newfoundland and the first transatlantic solo flight by a woman. Which of these is false about Amelia Earhart? A. Earhart's mom was the first woman ever to climb Pikes Peak. B. Earhart designed her own line of tools made for women. C. On long flights, Earhart would use smelling salts to keep her awake. Or D. In 2014, a world's record was set for the youngest woman to fly around the world in a single-engine plane. The pilot's name? Amelia Earhart. One of these, only one of these, is false.
Meaning the others are true.
Right.
I don't remember B or C.
Oh, I'll read them again. One of these is false about Amelia Earhart. The others are true. A. Earhart's mom was the first woman ever to climb Pikes Peak. B. Earhart designed her own line of tools made for women. C. On long flights, Earhart would use smelling salts to keep her awake. Or D. In 2014, a world's record was set for the youngest woman to fly around the world in a single-engine plane. The pilot's name? Amelia Earhart.
I'm going to guess B about the tool.
You're saying that is false.
I'm saying yeah.
Have a sip of this screwdriver. You just got yourself 2 more points! Ricky
Oh.
Ritzel! Whoa! Whoa! Ricky in front with 6 points! What made you, was it a guess or what?
Well, the thing with Amelia Earhart, that's so weird that it had to be true.
Huh. Okay. You know, she did have her own fashion line of clothing.
And I think she did. And the thing with her mother also was like too weird not to be true.
Yeah, her mom did climb, first woman to climb Pikes Peak. So, yay.
I've been to Pike's Place. Does that make the same thing? Yeah.
Is that in Seattle?
Yeah.
Is that in Seattle? Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
Question. Has anybody besides Ricky ever done all 3 of his first question, gotten points right away that way?
Well, Ricky's stolen.
He answered his 2 questions and he
stole.
answered his steal question
Yeah.
and got them right. So
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Ricky's just.
that may be a record.
Oh, I'm just lucky, Les.
Yeah.
No, but if it's a record, you can then play it in the act. You can.
Yeah, all of Thursday's show at Don't Tell Mama is going to
Yeah,
be about
yeah.
his appearance here. It's like, I was on this idiot's show. I don't even remember.
You
Yeah.
got to say
David,
hello to Aaron and Jay for me. I
It's
haven't
like
seen
being on
them in
What's My
100
Line
years.
in Hell.
it's every opportunity for David to come and say, this stinks.
I just wish you'd say hi to Aaron and Jay for me. I haven't seen them in 100 years
I
either.
will definitely. Yeah,
Is that Jay
they're-
Rogers? Is he still doing?
Jay Rogers and Aaron Marshita, yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Well,
They're
say hi
doing
to Jay
great.
also because he was on the show many years ago, so we're a big fan of
They
his.
were part of my original troupe.
The
when I-
Loungeliers. You had the Loungeliers. I have three of your CDs.
Right. But no, Ricky Ritzel's Broadway. Aaron and Jay were the original company.
So
And
who was
Steve-
Spider Saloff? Who was
Fighters in Chicago.
Okay,
Jazz singer.
Yeah.
because I remember you early on. You were working with her.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going out this summer to see her because we're going to see the pre-Broadway Devil Wears Prada
Oh.
with a score by Elton John.
Hmm,
Oh.
okay.
Because we went out a couple
Is it called Prada with an exclamation point? You have to go say hello to one of our friends in Chicago, Vicky Guadi, who does the nuns, all the nuns.
Who's probably
things.
watching right now. Vicky Quaddy, who
Good
created,
morning, Vicky.
She
co-created.
doesn't do nuns.
Well, and she
I left that sentence in a very strange place. I'm sorry.
Where's she at?
Thank you for noticing, Joyce.
I'm a little concerned like it went from PG
No,
to
one of the people who does this game very often is our friend Vicky Quaddy, who is the co-creator with Mary Pat Donovan of Late Night Catechism, which is still running. It's running at the Greenhouse in Chicago as we speak. So if you happen to come down to Chicago and see Praga, then maybe go see Late Night Catechism, or it wouldn't be Bible bingo.
There's bingo and whatnot. You can take bragging rights on this to her, and you can say, yeah, look what I did. You're very good.
Yeah.
Because Ricky is leading in this game. He is leading 6-2 over Leslie. David not yet with points on the board, but this can all change, and anybody can still win.
Okay.
And but this is
Yeah, he says that. He always says that.
That's
Mhm.
true. David, this question is for you.
Okay.
1955 was the year.
Ah.
Closing at Broadway's Alvin Theater tonight is the musical House of Flowers, created by Harold Arlen and Truman Capote. Which of these is false about true?
Oh.
A, he was triskaidekaphobic, that is a fear of the number 13.
Mm.
Triskaidekaphobic, yeah.
Holly Golightly in Breakfast at Tiffany's was originally supposed to be called Ingrid Peterson. C, Rolling Stone hired Truman Capote to write about the Rolling Stones on tour. Or D, he has a cameo in the Woody Allen film Annie Hall.
Which of these is true or which is false?
Only one of these is false.
Only one of these is false, you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, I believe it's D, because in the movie, there's a scene where Woody and Diane Keaton as Annie Hall are sitting in the park, and there's a shot of people walking by, and they're making fun of people. And Woody says at one point, "Oh, look, here's the winner of the Truman Capote lookalike contest." So it's someone dressed like Truman Capote, but it's not Truman Capote. So that means that it's false. I'm picking the false one, right?
That is correct. You're
Okay,
picking
so
the false
D.
one. Is that your
I'll say
final
D.
answer?
D, that's my final answer.
Your memory is absolutely spot on perfect about Annie Hall and the scene, but your facts are just a little bit off. The joke of it was that was actually Truman Capote.
Oh, really?
So they said, "Oh, there's the winner of the Truman Capote lookalike contest," and it really was Truman Capote walking into frame.
Really?
Yeah, it's a joke within a joke, kind of.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's why we played Today Yesterday Trivia on Dave's Gone By.
I did not know that.
Did you know that, Leslie? Did you know that?
Yes, I did know that. I did know that he was really in it. Yes, I knew that.
So,
No,
because
I
I
didn't
saw
know
you
that.
smiling, going like, "Ooh,
But
did you
it doesn't make for the right answer. That's only,
Yeah.
that's the one that's not,
Right.
that was
Okay.
true.
Well,
That
we
was
have a
true
skill
about true.
opportunity.
Now we have to go on and get
Okay.
Gonna roll the die, which comes up with a number 5. I think somebody has 5. Who has 5?
That's Ricky's number.
Ricky, oh my God, you can almost put the game away. Almost. if you get this right now. So, tell me about True.
You want to repeat those
Oh,
questions?
Yeah, I would love to hear those again.
So, of course. So, one of these is false about Truman Capote. A, he was triskaidekaphobic. He feared the number 13. B, Holly Golightly in Breakfast at Tiffany's was originally supposed to be called Ingrid Peterson. Or C, Rolling Stone hired him to write about the Rolling Stones on tour.
I'm not sure of any of those actually, but I'm going to guess Ingrid Peterson being false.
Is that your final answer?
It is.
Well, if points were money, you could afford Breakfast at Tiffany's because you just got 2 more points. Ricky Ritzel.
The only way I guess that was back in the early 80s, after I first moved to New York, I got a job playing out in the Hamptons in the summer
Yeah.
at this very popular roadhouse. And a guy came in there and I was told that that was Henry Golightly, who was an ex of Truman Capote's.
Ah,
That he based Holly on.
Whoa.
really?
And
Wow.
I thought, yeah, I mean, it was, and it always stuck with me.
Well, it would. Of course it would.
You know-
Well, the weirdest part is that before he got that name, the character was going to be called, this is the true thing, Connie Gustafson. That was going to be the original
What?
name of Holly
Connie?
Golightly. Connie Gustafson was.
Oh, I know. I had a friend called Carol Gustafson.
Yeah, well, that was going to be her name. And here's some other interesting things. Truman Capote would never start or finish a new piece of writing on a Friday, and he would never stay in a hotel room that was number 13. So he was a very superstitious dude. And then in 1972, he was hired by Rolling Stone to go follow the Rolling Stones on tour. He feuded with Keith Richards because Richard thought he was a snob. Truman wanted to just stay in his hotel room. He didn't want to be part of the parties and the noise. And Keith Richards would just throw ketchup at his door and say, "Oh, that's a cold blood." Just,
That's interesting. I wonder if was it too straight for him because he always partied. I mean,
I
he
know,
loved
or maybe
partying.
later at that stage in his life, he wasn't
Maybe.
Sweet 54
Maybe.
Truman. And then finally, and then yeah, the Annie Hall thing was him. Well, here's an interesting thing. We're going to play the rest of the game, and yet
But it doesn't matter.
it's
Oh,
actually
let's go ahead. Only one more question, right?
2 more questions.
Oh,
But Ricky Ritzel has already
yes.
You have won the game.
won the game.
Yes.
Very
Very
good.
good.
I don't have a noisemaker, but
Dum,
woo!
dum.
Oh,
Over his head. Look at that.
you never offered me a crown.
Isn't
You
that an
never
air
once
freshener?
when I won offered me a crown ever,
That's a crown.
ever. Yeah, right.
There you go.
Isn't that an air freshener?
That's a crown.
Well,
David, did you know after all the times that you won, did you know that he had a crown in his
Yeah.
back pocket?
Well,
No.
I don't bring this out usually. I just for special occasions.
Joyce, he wears it to bed, doesn't he?
Then she has the bruises to prove it. But okay.
As if she'd tell me, right? It's
So,
okay.
anywho, we still do. We play the quiz through anyway, even though Ricky,
Yes.
congratulations,
Yes.
you won. But
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Leslie, this next question is for you, and guess what? It's your favorite thing in the world.
Oh shit. Thought I was going to get through without having to worry
Actually,
about
the clues in the news. What is it? The clues. 3 clues in the
3 clues
news
in the
in
news.
hell is the
It
hell.
is, that's
That's hell.
All right, here we go.
David, you agree with me that this is not your favorite topic, right?
Sometimes I get it.
Yeah.
I don't mean, sometimes I get it too, but I don't like them.
It's not my
They're
favorite,
much-
but sometimes I like it. Sometimes when I know what it is.
Yeah,
When I
Right.
when you
Yeah,
get
well,
it,
of
when you
course.
get Wordle, it's fun. If you're getting on the third
I should
word.
start keeping track and see how many times I actually get it.
Well, here's one. 3 clues in the news. I'll explain briefly because this is new to Ricky. The idea is there are 3 words that I'm going to give you.
Much beloved game, Ricky.
The words are not connected to each other at all. They're three words that are seemingly random, but each individual word is connected to another word that I want you to think of. So, and it could be word blank or blank word. And then the word that I want you to think of has something to do with something that happened in the news this past week. So that's why we call it.
Give him the, you go to this backwards. You give the difficult description when you have an easy description to give.
Well, we mean the example of.
Yes, give the
All
example.
Right, fine. Sweet, couch, vegetable. What would you think of?
Sweet couch vegetable.
Right. Those words don't connect with each other.
A linking word.
Potato.
There
Potato.
you go. There you go. Each word makes you think of potato.
But that was a practice one.
So, but that's not the actual three clues in the news. Leslie is getting the three clues in the news. Are you ready, Leslie?
Speaking of potato, did you see Stephen Colbert and the Ukraine? He, I don't remember what the situation was, but he crowned, oh, I know, it was the Eurosong thing. And he when Ukraine won, he had a potato come out wearing a crown. And he said, yes, I thought you would love that. You'll have to go back and can you go back and find something in the this last week about Europe?
Oh, yeah, well, after the show's over, I'm going to Google that and find.
Okay,
yeah. Of course.
I should have taken a screenshot for you. Sorry.
Do it now,
Right.
Daddy. No, not now, potato. Hold on. Potato, patience. All right. Leslie, three clues in the news. Here are your.
I'm just trying to do anything I can to distract you from giving me these clues.
Come on.
Leslie,
All right.
You always get them. You know this.
The words are high, box, crop.
The first and the last words make me think of pot somehow, you know. Mary Jane, marijuana, one of those things. But box, where would that come in? Box. Oh, pot, no. Now I've trucked myself into it. I can't think of anything else. Pot. P-O-T.
Is that your final answer?
Or boy, high boy, box boy. Is there such a thing as a boy crop? They never showed me that when I was younger, when I could use it.
Oh my God, where I'd be there now.
Far from the
Boy.
1980s.
Boy or box or a boy or pot. Boy, I'll go with boy.
Is that your final answer?
Sure.
Boy, oh boy, are you wrong. No, that is not the correct answer. So we're going to roll the die.
I think, Leslie, don't overthink it, Leslie.
Well, did you think?
I can't help myself, Joyce.
I know.
David Sheward. I rolled a 3. So
All right. High box crop. Now, there's been a food shortage, gas, baby formula, high. All I can think of is sky. It doesn't fit with crop, but it does fit with the high and box. So I'll say sky.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Well, you should have set your sights a little bit lower than the sky. That is not correct.
Right.
So, Ricky Ritzel, you can actually get 10 points on the board if you can think of the word that goes with all three of these words. And that is a word that has something to do with something that happened in the news quite recently.
High box crop. Is that right?
You know, those are the words, yes.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Tell him if you don't know, you can also plug your show. So you can mention your show when you're stuck for an answer. It always works.
Ricky Ritzel, don't tell Mom. But
Exactly.
I promise not to be high during my show. You can't buy my show in a box. but you can go collect your crops after my show.
You know, there's a new drag queen. Her name is Out of the Box.
Oh.
Mr.
Ba-dum-bum.
Peabody.
More likely in the box, but that's okay. Never mind. We won't go there either.
Oh, bang,
I'm
bang
gonna-
at the box.
Hang on the box, right?
Stab, wild stab is circle.
Circle. Is that your final answer?
Yeah, why not?
Or rotate.
Okay, I've stumped the panel on this one. So here's
Duh.
the deal. Let's see if I can have a hint on this one. Actually, if you had rearranged the letters, Leslie, you would have had it.
What did Leslie say?
Yob.
What did
She's
Leslie
In my answer, wait, if I'd rearrange the letters in my answer or on the
The
page?
answer was boy.
No, her answer. No, oh, you went with boy. I'm sorry. You went with.
Oh, you're saying, so pot is top.
Top.
Box
High
top.
top, box top,
High
top crop?
Top.
High
wait,
tops
yeah.
El más mejor.
and crop tops.
What's
I
a
don't know what crop
top?
tops are.
Well, crop is just like a girl's.
Oh,
Oh.
crop tops. I got it. I'm sorry. I was
Okay,
thinking
yeah,
of
that
vegetable
I would
crop.
not have got. I'm not that familiar with that.
No.
So,
But
No,
why?
neither am I.
And the reason that was in the news is
the four tops died. I don't know.
no.
Fashion Week?
That giant horrible shooting in Baltimore was in a Tops.
Oh, a top
Supermarket.
supermarket.
Right.
I
It
did
was-
not think you would go there. I
Of course.
truly did not
Top
think you
I
would
would
go
go
there.
there,
supermarket.
Leslie.
I thought of that.
Really?
You're right. I don't know how to answer that. Anything I say is going to just be so defamatory that I'm not going to say it. To you,
Inflammatory.
not to anything that comes to my mind would be so awful that I can't. Even I cannot bring myself to say that.
Yeah, but that was why I picked that word, because box
Okay.
tops, crop tops, and dead people inside of Tops.
Oh,
supermarket. Yeah.
Oh,
It takes David a long
Well, at least they had the shopping carts to get the people out of there. It's like-
Oh.
Okay, anyway,
Moving on.
we have one more. Well, actually, two more questions. We have one more question in round 3. That Ricky,
Oh.
you can still get 10 points. You have 8, but you can still put 2 more points on the board if you get this question correct. Are you ready?
I guess.
He guesses. Here we go. You will be guessing on this one. And it's so weird that you brought this up, Leslie. You didn't know that this question was coming.
Maybe she did.
The year was 2005. Greece wins the 50th Eurovision Song Contest today with Helena Paparizou's tune "My Number One."
Oh, I love that song.
Speaking of number one, according to Good Housekeeping, which of these is false about urine?
Ah.
A Clydesdale horse pees more than 4.5 gallons a day.
Whoa.
B, if you get stung by a jellyfish, peeing on it will take away the sting. C, cat urine glows in the dark. Or D, the longest human pee lasted 8.5 minutes.
Wait, which is true?
Which of these is false about urine?
Is this for me or was this for anybody?
that's for you. No, that was.
Yeah.
He actually had another question. He purposely changed it to this one just for you, Ricky.
As you know, you're in town and so am I.
Oh,
Oh.
I'm gonna say
yellow.
I'm saying B.
You're saying B, it is false about the jellyfish.
Yep.
If you have pee, will take away the sting.
Everybody thinks it's true.
I agree with him. I heard that too. I agree.
Ricky, with 10 points.
10 points.
You are, I'm not
Wow.
taking the piss. You
I-
have gotten 10 points.
10. Wasn't
So
it worth
which-
sticking
which one was
around,
Before
Ricky?
that, you used
I-
pee.
Just for bragging
I
rights,
always
if
heard that
nothing
that
else.
was true, and
Yeah.
then I read that that's not true at all. And I was on a ship down snorkeling down in Key West, and we went out, and the guy did get stung by a jellyfish, and they brought him on, and he kept yelling, "Don't pee on me! Don't pee on me!"
Well, you know, there's that famous Friends episode where Joey had to pee on somebody or somebody had to pee on Joey. So that helped to spread the myth of
Oh.
the
Ah,
pee.
I think Madonna also spread it around too, didn't she?
Oh,
Right,
she spread a
right.
lot of
She's
things
got a
around,
peeing
honey.
She said
She
something
spread
like that
everything
on
she
David
could.
on David
But-
Letterman.
But
It'd be funny if
the 8.5 minute pee. Did you all see Finer No Gases, the Adam rap?
I don't
we'll
think
never
so.
see
I
it.
don't think so.
No.
I saw it at Louisville, but then it went off Broadway, and they had a guy who had to pee into a bottle on stage. It took place in some decrepit flop house, and there was shit all around the place, garbage and whatnot. And this guy stood there in his underwear before anything was said and peed and peed and peed. And we all thought that there was a hose of some kind.
Right, yeah.
And they swore that the guy just drank 2 gallons of water just before the show
Oh.
and actually peed. And I said, what the hell was that audition like?
Who was the rehearsal pianist? Like,
Exactly. I could not imagine how you would audition for that.
I should say the rehearsal pianist. But honest to God, Leslie, this is gonna freak you out. I mean, I saw off Broadway a revival years ago, not the recent one, of Curse of the Starving Class.
Yes.
And in that one too, a guy starts peeing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how are they doing? How?
But I think somewhere along the line that may have been done with a tube and whatnot. I think they swore that the guy in this place.
In Piaf, it was like a tube and everything.
Well,
Right.
Pee off. Yeah, right.
And that's why it was called Piaf, right?
Oh. All right, you're in the
Piaf.
money. You're in the money. Okay, so we have for Ricky has already.
None of this is to deflect from the fact that Ricky just got 10 points.
I know, because usually we warn new contestants not to be worried if they don't get anything.
Right,
it's ridiculous quiz. Meanwhile, here you are, you waltz in here,
He's nailing it.
literally playing a waltz on the piano.
Did you waltz in? Did I miss you waltzing in? Oh, shoot. That would have been worth the price of admission to see you waltz in.
We do have one more trivia question for you all. And Ricky, we do this one a little bit differently. It's our tiebreaker if we needed a tiebreaker. We don't. You won. But everybody gets this question, and instead of answering it out loud, I'll read it. You will write down your answer on the piece of paper, and then I'll read it again, give a countdown, and then everybody will hold up his or her piece of paper.
Big enough to be read on the camera.
So, everybody got your writing utensils and...
Excuse me.
Sorry we're keeping you awake, David. Here we go. Here's question number 10, our tiebreaker.
Going to a show?
No, we got him all day. There's no matinee. The year was 1957. Born today in Wilmington, Delaware, is this actor whose career never quite took off despite featured roles in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Beverly Hills Cop, Ruthless People, and The Santa Claus. Name this Emmy-nominated performer whose first name came from childhood when people saw him as a baby and thought he looked really stern.
Say it again.
Okay. Oh, I'll read it like a couple of times. I'll read it again. Born in 1957, on this day, happy birthday, in Wilmington, Delaware, is this actor whose career never quite took off despite featured roles in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Beverly Hills Cop, Ruthless People, and The Santa Claus. Name this Emmy-nominated performer whose first name came from childhood when people saw him as a baby and thought he looked really stern.
Okay. I think I
know. A moment or two to all get a name down. Okay, and signal to me when you're all ready. I'll read the question one more time. So, Ricky, we're all good to go. You all have answers?
I'm ready, yeah.
I'm ready.
One more time. I'll give a 3, 2, 1 countdown, and then hold your stuff up to the camera. Born May 21st, 1957, in Wilmington, Delaware, is this actor whose career never quite took off despite featured roles in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Beverly Hills Cop, Ruthless People, and The Santa Claus. Name this Emmy-nominated performer whose first name came from childhood when people saw him as a baby and thought he looked really stern. 3, 2, 1. I see Bronson Pinchot. I see 2 Judge Reinholdts.
Oh.
I will be the judge and jury on this one. Well done! Oh my God! You don't get extra points on the tiebreaker, but oh my... Wow.
Everything, Ricky.
And by the way, congratulations to Leslie. You got that one right.
Well, yeah, but
What made you not give it away, but what made you think it was that answer?
the stern, when you said the stern look
I
on the face,
remember
and
now
who was
that you
in what
say it.
movie, and
Yeah.
who was in what movie who never really got it. If you'd said Animal House, that would have been another one.
Was he? I don't remember.
Oh, I thought he was in Animal House, wasn't he? Maybe not.
Oh.
I remember him as a ride along in Beverly Hills Cop too. I remember that he just.
I forgot about that. That shows you his career really didn't take off, you know.
Yes, if David doesn't know, you know the joke about I forgot.
I mean, I know who Judge. Now that you say it, I remember him. But
yeah, he's had a long career, but he just never became a star.
He worked a lot, but yeah.
What did he win an Emmy for?
Nominated.
What was he nominated for?
Oh, I don't have that. I should have had that in front. I think he had a guest starring thing on something, or I can Google it, or let me Google it. Judge Reinhold. Now I can use Google.
Is it Hold or Hold?
Hold with a D.
Hold.
Nomination.
It's not about spelling, Ricky. I just was curious because I
exactly because I think you and I spelled it the same way.
He was nominated for a very celebrated Seinfeld episode where he was the close talker.
The what talker?
Blank Faces. He was the close talker
okay. I remember. Okay, yeah.
He got an Emmy nomination for that. So anyway, let's first of all thank so much our wonderful contestants on this Today Yesterday quiz, and let's tell everybody where and what. So first of all, of course, our new champion, Ricky Ritzel, whom you can see live and in the flesh this coming Friday, May 27th, 7 p.m. at Don't Tell Mama. I think it's 343 West 46th Street between like 8th and 9th Avenue. Starts at 7. It's you at the piano. You're singing some stuff, and you're also bringing up some people too, right?
I don't sing in this performance. It's all the cast that I bring to. We're doing History Rides Again, and A Year with Frog and Toad, and
that's such a clever thing. I looked you up online. That's so clever that you give a theme to the evening. So the songs come from shows that a lot of people don't know, or the songs are. Oops, he went away.
I'm still here. Wait.
Can't take a compliment, can you? I was trying to.
There you go.
He is.
There you
Okay.
You what's the third show? The third show I'm doing is Young Frankenstein.
Right.
Oh.
Right.
Because I got to watch Aaron online. I got to watch Aaron Morishita do the snake song from Apple Tree, which was hysterical.
Oh yeah. I mean, I try to put them up. They're all on YouTube. If you look for Ricky Ritzel's Broadway, and then.
Yeah, my wife is saying that if people watching on Facebook now, there's a link to Don't Tell Mama that she's put in the chat.
Oh.
If you want to get your tickets now and you want to find out more about seeing Ricky,
Great, thank you.
If not this Friday.
Which room is it in, Ricky? Is it in the old room or the new room?
The old room.
I mean, the new room is now an old room, I know, but it's been so many years.
But he does it once a month, so you can see him both times. He's going to be there on where did I have it? I had it.
I'm trying to remember what shows I'm doing in
also.
June.
Yeah.
In June we're doing Next to Normal.
Oh.
And a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court.
Oh. Wow.
And what's the third show? Wait, do I have it?
Somebody's going to sing to keep my somebody's going to sing to keep my love alive, right?
I think that's going to be
show is
Christine Sabornik.
Is what?
Christine Sabornik's going to do that.
They put him in cabaret.
I love that song.
Rags is the other show.
What's the other? Oh, Rags.
Yeah.
And then the elixir, and then the laxative of love, right?
Believe it or not, when I was doing that kind of shit, that was one of my audition songs, was To Keep My Love Alive, because it was a comedy number and I didn't have to sing well.
I can see you doing that.
It was perfect for my lack of range. I didn't even have a limited range; I had a lack of range. That's how I became a standby for Lauren Bacall. I mean, not a standby. That's the wrong word. A road company.
Leslie, speaking of lack of range, in July we're doing Coco.
Not the show Coco.
Even I was better than that. Even I was better than that.
Piano bar or the cabaret?
He's in the old room, quote unquote.
The long room. as opposed to the wide room, the long room.
The original room. That's the room that
The
opened
original room.
40 years ago in October.
Right. I directed a couple of shows in that room. I directed John, I can't come up with his last name now. Oh, that's awful.
Wilkes Booth? No.
Never, no, yes, John was a close personal friend. He really was. And then he went wrong,
John
you know, I
Charles
mean, what
Daly.
can I say? He
John
was such a
Charles.
talented boy, and then he just went, you know.
Yeah, you know,
berserk.
he had issues.
He did. Okay.
Had issues.
Let me also thank our other contestants. First of all, David Sheward. You can read his reviews at theaterlife.com and culturaldaily.com. David, what new reviews have you posted this week?
We have a review of Mr. Saturday Night and the Scottish play on both Cultural Daily and Theater Life. It was really weird. The thing I will say about that particular production is, you know, you're in trouble when the three witches look like they're about to have a cooking class at a suburban shopping mall. They were standing there on stage in dungarees and like crunchy granola suburban outfits, and there was this cart with mixing bowls and not a like a witch's brew, but like it looked like they were going to make some pasta or something.
Oh,
It was
yeah, and it goes downhill from the. Can I ask you, because it's the one show that I'm not planning to see because, you know, are there a lot of loud noises and shrieking music
there's some.
There's some, yeah. I've heard so many bad things about it. On top of that, in the M word, yeah. So,
Yeah.
but Mr. Saturday Night, I think we both liked. So
Yeah, I liked it. I didn't think it was the laugh riot of the year that people were saying it was.
I really enjoyed it.
But I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Again, that's not the same thing as saying it was a laugh riot, but it was a comfortable show.
Yeah,
I
I
felt
thought it
very
was.
comfortable.
I love a comfortable show.
I
liked
really recommend it. I thought it was.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the fact that he can do this at 74
Yeah.
every day,
That's a big.
8
it's
shows
like-
a week is
it's a-
amazing.
And you don't see him huffing and puffing. He does it seemingly every
And then he goes
night.
and does talk shows in the daytime. He does talk shows at night. I mean, he's amazing.
Oh, and I also have on the blog, I do a roundup of all the theater awards, just my reactions to the Tony nominations, the Drama Desk nominations, the Outer Critics winners, the New York.
I have to read your feelings about the Drama Desk nomination.
There is just
Have
one
you seen
thing.
any of those shows?
What?
Have you seen? Well, you probably have, because it's mostly all these off-Broadway shows that, like during the pandemic, no one was going to.
I haven't seen every single show that's nominated. It would be impossible. And I was sick for part of the time.
Right, yeah.
And I was hit by a car.
Yeah.
And
He has a reason. I just didn't go. He has a reason.
Well, you
I
had a
just,
reason, too.
I was
you were
immunocompromised. I mean, but you know,
but
I'm
there
also
is
scared.
there is one thing that's really bothering me about the Drama Desk nominations, and that is, why is Ruben Santiago Hudson nominated for Best Actor in Lackawanna Blues? Because we have a separate solo performance category, and his is a solo performance.
Yeah, right.
And so why isn't that in that category? And he did it in 2001, and he was nominated. And he lost, but he was nominated, so he was eligible before. And David Morse and Mary Louise Parker and Gay are not considered eligible because they are recreating their roles from How I Learned to Drive.
Ruben Santiago Hudson, who, by the way, is a friend of the Daverhood, has been on the show.
Yeah, no,
how come he was eligible, whereas
yeah, and precedent Lily Tomlin also, when she redid the Search for Signs of the Universe, she was the hostess of the Drama Desk Award, but we did not nominate her for solo performance because she'd already
won. What they could
won.
have done this year was make a special award for those people recreating their roles from 20 and 30 years
which
ago.
The Outer Critics did.
Right.
So I first of all, it doesn't make any sense. I mean,
I'm in total agreement.
When we talk about the Tonys, that David can talk about this because David was the former president of the Drama Desk for several years. So,
and I'm still the historian of the Drama Desk.
Yeah.
But there are whole categories I cannot vote in. I mean, whole categories that I saw nothing.
We're still voting members, And
Right.
I'm not trying to disparage Ruben Santiago Hudson or anything like that.
No, I
Yeah,
understand.
but the rules should be fair for everybody.
Yeah,
If it holds for him, it should hold for Morse and
Yeah.
for.
This is what I meant about talking about snubs when we do the Tony show. This
Okay.
is what I meant. This
Uh-huh.
is the kind of thing I'd like to bring up. That
And
was
by the
one
way,
of the
what
things.
Leslie is referring to is that the Dave's Gone By annual special Broadway Tony special, I've got to figure out the name for the damn thing, is going to happen Saturday, June 11th. It'll be one of our regular shows, but it's going to be a bunch of critics weighing in on their picks, their plans.
Oh, it's the 11th? Why did I think it was the 12th?
No, that's terrible. What
Because
was that?
that's when the Tonys are. The Tonys are the 12th.
Oh, okay. I have
Well, yeah,
I have
I
a
know
bit of
the
a
date wrong.
conflict on the 11th. If we're just going to do it regular time, 10 to 12.
Well, 10 to 1 or 9 to 1 is the.
All right, I have to
Well,
go
yeah,
on
1 to
earlier
1
because I have a memorial for my brother that day, so I have to go.
Oh,
You can also pre-tape, Leslie, if you need to do that. Let me-
Okay, well, then I can't talk, then we can't talk crosstalk, which was what I was hoping we
Well,
would
I
be
don't know
able
what
to do.
time your
Okay.
brother's thing is.
We'll organize that. I'm sorry, but I'm glad we got the date straight because I would not have realized
I'm
that.
saying, Saturday, June 11th.
June
is
11th.
My show.
I
But
can
the-
double
And then
check
June 12th is
if the
Tony's.
memorial is slightly later, that's okay too. then I
and
can
let me
do
just
it.
say that I just wanted to say that I think the Drama Desk list overall, is great, and I'm very proud to be part of the organization because we include Broadway and off Broadway and off Broadway, and it's a very diverse, interesting group of nominees that include stuff that's been ignored or not included by other groups.
Yeah.
I
Well, the
think
idea.
for the last 2 years, it's been a diverse and interesting group of nominators as well.
Yes, that too.
I think in the last couple of years during the pandemic, it's been among the best group of nominators that I can remember.
Well,
I don't just mean by I mean diverse in terms of diversity, in terms of I've read people that I don't know personally, and I think, I just think that everyone is a very high level of
Well, I used to tussle
Whatever.
with Randy Jenner when he was on. I'm pretty sure that the drama, it might have been the OCC, but it was Randy Jenner, and it was people were complaining that they were nominating things that ran for 3 weeks and the members couldn't see them all. And he was like, "No, wait a minute. We have you elected us as nominators, so we're the ones who see everything. You have to trust us. And if I go see something at La Mama that I think is great, even if you haven't, and it votes and the vote gets through." It's going to get a nomination, even though 4% of the rest of the members have seen it. So,
Mhm.
But then I have something. I think then the shows themselves and the press reps are responsible for getting us a link to some kind of even a scene from the thing, so that we have
Oh,
some
script.
idea of what it was when we didn't see it.
Yeah.
And in the past, we were all supposed to see everything. But with what's been going on now, obviously
It's
that
impossible.
doesn't hold.
it really is.
That doesn't hold.
Yeah, there
So
are some of the
I want to
shows-
get in touch with Scott Klein on Monday and find out, do I have to call every single press rep individually for those shows? Does the tape museum at the Lincoln Center Library, is that open? Is that working for us to come in and see things? I'm happy to go do that.
The library
but-
is open. The library is open.
Is the tape library open though?
Yes, it is.
Okay, well, that's, all right, I may try to do
But
that.
I don't know
then.
which shows. I don't know which shows it has.
Well, that's it. Well, that's,
Well,
so
probably
it's a
every Broadway
combination of
show.
all of those factors.
Yeah.
But I think that should be written into the nominations, is that will be available. I think maybe so that has to be asked. If you can be, we're nominating you, but you must be able to provide some context. Well, I'm just saying, David, that's my thought process at the moment,
Anyway, by the way,
Yes.
yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
Leslie is thinking, well, we've got to kind of close the segment here. But I want to tell people that Leslie Hoban Blake, you can watch her with Charlie Gross on Two on the Aisle. And they have a whole channel on YouTube, and it's a theater show. They review theater. They talk about stuff like this. They interview people in the theater. So, Leslie, who is a recent, what was the latest episode?
We haven't, well, our most recent person was Tisa Chang when they did Citizen Wong. That was our last interview. But we resuscitated our James C. Nicola. I may have said this last week. Our James C. Nicola interview, which was our very first Critic Circle interview, because of the special Tony Award that he's receiving for his 33 and a half years as the head of New York Theater Workshop. So we resuscitated that and put up a little, notation that he won a Tony for this. And he was such a wonderful guest, and it was a wonderful. I look back on it now, I realize it was our very first one, and we did a damn good job considering we didn't know what
If
we
you
were
do
doing.
say so yourself, yes.
If I pat me on the back, but we don't have another because of Charlie's job, because I need daylight in order to tape. If it's nighttime, this is my apartment without the light on.
Oh, wow.
And if there's no light coming in from the window, then I would be basically working almost in the dark. So we have a problem because, well, I know I can do that, all of those old 40s headshots. But who was the guy who did those, David? David Lefkowitz, you know who? David Sheward, you know who I'm talking about. Who did all those wonderful Garbo heads and Barbara Stanwyck?
Morel.
The one with the half face and whatnot. Okay. So anyway, my point being that our schedules are no longer jiving. He's off to work. He doesn't get home. Then he's going to the theater. So, and his Sundays have been taken up with family matters.
The short answer is we don't have a new episode. I'm sorry. I just like.
Excuse me. What are these words? Short answer. What do those words mean? I don't understand.
I should have a multiple choice for this.
Welcome.
Is that a concept of some kind?
Tangents are us.
Leslie's lighting. See, it's like
Tangents are us.
Okay, but here's the bottom line. Please, I do want to say this. Yeah. I have become afraid again. I have become afraid with the raising of the bar, and I don't want to bring everybody down and get serious. And the monkeypox is just a side thing that makes me giggle, but it's a real thing. But I find that I don't want to go back to the theater. You said you don't want to go see Macbeth. I don't know what I want to go back to see. I have 7 shows that I really have to see in order to vote. They are all still running, and I can't bring myself. This whole week I have not gone to the theater. And it's not getting better. So I have like an inner dread that's keeping me from getting out the door to go see them. I went all of April. I just heard that the masks are going to be kept until the end of June.
Yeah.
But not. But the weird thing, I went to
Are they masking in the cabarets, Ricky?
It depends on the room.
Are
you masking for Broadway?
Are you masking at Don't Tell Mama?
That's voluntarily. If you want to wear it, you can, but they're not requiring it anymore.
I mean, when people order drinks, what do you do? I mean,
Back on.
Yeah. But last night we went to see the Minutes, and 54 is definitely doing masking, and they're doing verification still.
Yeah, Theater Club did that couple. I went to see How I Learned to Drive, and I was like, okay,
we did that.
We see your backs too. I'm like, oh, you're still doing that? Cool,
Yeah, I've complimented everyone when I get to a show that has the vaccination check, but I think to myself, if I went to the theater and at the door they didn't ask for it, I think I would turn away and not go in. So,
well, most Broadway shows are not asking for verification. You still have to wear the mask, but
but some are, as Ricky said, the Minutes is. And
I read that it was the company. I mean, it's roundabout. I think all of their shows are requiring verification.
But
it's up to the individual producers whether they want to or not. That's stupid.
When I went to Mr. Saturday Night, they did not ask. I had to wear the mask, but they did not ask for the Vax card.
Right.
Does that mean all of the Nederlander theaters aren't asking?
And the same, I don't know. The same in Macbeth, they didn't ask for the card, but we did have to wear the mask.
And how many shows have just been closed down because the cast members are getting?
Well, last weekend, Moulin Rouge, Suffs, and The Skin of Our Teeth had to cancel performances.
Paradise Square, too, I heard, had to do.
Again?
Yes.
Or was that a couple of weeks ago? Paradise Square, like 3-4 weeks ago, they're back. Or did they
no, it was only for 2 performances. It was like 2.
Oh, okay. Or maybe he just didn't pay all the actors. No, just kidding. Anywho.
Anyway, so I wanted to put this out there because I don't know that obviously, David Sheward, you don't feel the same way. It doesn't disturb you in the same way.
You mean not checking for the Vax card?
No, I mean just going at all is what I'm saying.
Oh, well, I feel, I did test positive about a month ago, and actually it was the beginning of April. And I think I feel all right about it. I feel that everybody's wearing the mask and
What symptoms did you have, David?
sorry, what?
What symptoms did you have?
I felt very tired. I had a sore throat. I was coughing and my nose was running. I did not have a fever. And it was very mild. And I just
When
stayed
you
home.
go to the theater, you're a carrier.
Well,
You're fine. You're giving it to everybody else.
but I didn't go back until I canceled everything I was going to see during those 10 days. And then when I tested negative and then went back.
But here's the thing, you're an honorable person and you're a smart person and you're part of the community, so you know better. But somebody comes in from Iowa and he's got 2 tickets to see that show that night and sniffles, fever, no matter what. I mean, how difficult would it be then to hold one of those little thermometers on everybody's head and just see if they have a fever?
Yeah.
Which is what the hospitals are doing.
Leslie, we were in, the 3 of us went down to St. Augustine the beginning of April for 5 days. And the only masks I saw were the ones we had.
Well, that's Florida.
We went to a community theater production down there of a show called The Messiah on the Frigidaire. And it was not that, it was like a sitcom for 2 hours. But I mean, I'm in the theater, I'm wearing a mask, but nobody else is. And
I couldn't
we all got sniffles, sore throat, and we're exhausted. Came home and I'm sure we had it, and none of us tested positive. We were all negative.
Well, you could have cold from other people. I mean,
exactly. We're so careful. We are seeing. Ted and I, especially, have been so incredibly careful for the past 2.5 years that that I'm not really afraid. If I'm being careful, I'm going to know if I'm not going to go in that store because there's too many people in there. You know, and
but you're in a place once every month where people are sitting and breathing all over each other and you.
But here's the thing with me. I play happy hour there on Monday. But if I walk straight to the piano, I'm 12 feet away from everybody at all times. And on stage, I'm walking through the audience, but I'm getting up on stage. And I'm a good 6 feet from the closest person. There was one show I played that, I'm sorry, David. There was
I'm sorry. I was just about to say it is close. I don't have a matinee, but I do have some things I have to do. So.
Oh, sure you do. David.
No, I
gotta wash my hair. Yes.
Yeah.
So let's table this. I mean, it's a great conversation, but we do have more show to do, and it is literally after noon. So thank you one more time to Leslie Hoban Blake from Two on the Aisle on YouTube, David Sheward from criticcircletheaterlife.com, and also his blog, The David Desk, and of course, our new friend of the Daverhood,
champion.
Ricky Ritzel,
new champion.
Friday nights at Don't Tell Mama. So
it's so good to see David, Leslie, and they've tell the Rabbi I sent my best.
Great to see you.
It is wonderful. Thank you for being with us, all of you. Wave as we let you all go. This has got to move you one by one. Thank you, Ricky. And thank you, Leslie. Have a great week. And thank you, David Sheward. See you next week. You guys don't go away. I'm still here. We still have more show to do on this Saturday, May 21st, 2022, in the 850th episode of Dave's Gone By. Of course, we're calling it Putting on the Ritzel for our guest, the delightful and the sweeping.
He nailed it.
He's the today. He's not just like the cabaret king. He's the king of today, yesterday quiz.
He's the trivia king.
Wow.
Yeah.
So congratulations to him. And this is huge. This is of all the career highlights in Ricky Ritzel's life.
He can put that on his Vita.
All the things he's done.
What do you call it?
His resume.
Yeah, that he's won this,
That should move up to the top slot. You see his face on the front, and then you flip over his resume. And first thing is, today, yesterday, trivia champion on Dave's Gone By. We have a bit more to do actually on this episode of the show, because we haven't done Inside Broadway yet, and we haven't done our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, where we go to Genesee, Colorado, or talked about our friends.
Tennessee. I was the
of the Daverhood. So, yeah, let me talk a little bit of theater. Since we're coming out of a bunch of theater people, and as I mentioned, I went to the theater a couple of times this week to see some shows on Broadway. So I'm gonna let you know what they are and what I thought about them. That's why we call this segment Inside Broadway. Inside Broadway, a look at theater in New York, Colorado, and beyond, brought to you by TotalTheater.com and Performing Arts Insider, the Bible of Broadway. Yes, Inside Broadway we go, here on Dave's Gone By. So I went to see a couple of plays, because I've been talking about musicals, but I did get to some straight plays. Quite literally, they're actually straight, about straight people, which is rare on Broadway these days. But first, I went to the Booth Theater earlier in the week to see the revival of a choreo poem by Entezaki Shangi. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. For colored girls who have considered suicide / when the rainbow is enough. It's basically a melding of poetry and scene and monologue stuff with dance and movement to create a portrait of Black women and how they're getting along in America and how they feel about themselves and how they deal with life and the men in their lives and things like that. So, you know, you could say on some level, this show isn't directly for me, a middle-aged white Jewish guy, but of course, any show that's interesting and touching or moving is for me. So there was just a feeling from the moment that this started, that this revival started, that it had a high schooly gym feel to it. I don't know why. I don't know how you can have a show that might have 2 people on it, minimal props, some lighting and some sets, and you feel like, oh my God, it fills a 1,200 seat Broadway theater. And then you have another show with like 4 or 5 or 6 women in the cast and professional lighting, professional everything. But you go there and you feel like, well, this is just sort of, you know, I could be seeing this at the YMCA. I mean, again, these are very talented women, talented actors, and getting this material across. But I just, from the first moment, I felt, well, it's not going to be special about this. This is just going to be like, oh, okay, let's see how they do with their individual pieces and how they do with their monologues and how they do with the dance. And it was, again, it's not fair also to this production that I was seeing it just 2 or 3 days after I had seen the Michael Jackson musical MJ, in the sense that that was so full of color and way too much sound, but some extraordinary dancing. So that when we get these women moving on stage, it's like, oh, they move nicely, and that's a pretty good dancer. But, you know, in your head, again, not fair, is these people you've just been watching who are like, wow. And that's what's missing through most of For Colored Girls Who Have Considered Suicide When the Rainbow Is Enough, directed by Camille A. Brown. It just, there's the lack of specialness, the lack of excitement, the lack of feeling present in a Broadway show is kind of missing. And you do get it in another show that is in some ways similar. If you go to see the musical Six on Broadway, about the 6 wives of Henry VIII, and again, it's mostly Black women, although that one is a musical. That one, the way it's designed, the way they move about, the way it's done, you have the feeling, even though it's not a full musical with plot per se, and lots of other people on stage, that one feels like, aha, I'm in a show. This kind of feels like a presentation. It's okay. It really, there's a couple of amusing moments. There's a couple of touching, not really that touching moments. There's one killer scene that's done by Kenita R. Miller. It comes in the second part of the show. It's all about this woman. She has 2 kids, and she's got this boyfriend, Beau Willie, and he's not your ideal beau, pun intended. He's a terrible person, a terrible drunk, but he's his way of wheedling his way into her life and into her kid's life, and he does something that's really, really horrible. And it's a 20-minute monologue that is gripping and like creepy and awful as hell. And she just, in those moments, in that section of the show, where like this, watching her do that monologue. If the whole show or more of the show had that level of intensity and like, I'm in it. I'm watching that. And, if the funny parts were funny like that, if something else was more, and there's one sequence where the physicalization of a woman who's had an abortion, of her feelings, literally just about vomiting up in pain, emotional and also physical, is quite powerful. But it's that second act monologue that is any kind of reason to go see this revival of For Colored Girls Who Have Considered Suicide When the Rainbow Is Enough. You can find the original on YouTube when they actually did it on PBS like 50 years ago. I would suggest checking that out first before you go to the Booth Theater to see this new production. I give it about 2 3/4 stars. It's all out of 4. It's
You
not
should change
quite.
your scale to 5 because most people do a scale.
Did I do a
out of
5-star now?
Yeah,
Yes,
most
before.
scales
Yeah.
are 5. Most annual
No.
scales are 5.
I don't know if I can change after 35 years of doing 0 to 4 stars, but out of 5 stars, then I'd give it maybe a 3 1/4, if that sort of, I can't even wrap my head around that yet. But anyway, not quite recommended. But if you do happen to get a ticket to it, they were going to run this until August, and then audiences didn't show up, even though the reviews, other people's reviews, were very strong for it. And then there are people who really feel the show is important and should be out there, especially in a Broadway season that is full of, a show called Thoughts of a Colored Man, played earlier in the year. And they're doing 6, and they're Brink Clydes, and shows that are particularly about the Black experience. Lots of them this season. So it felt important. Let's also have, For Colored Girls back, right? So they did, and there are people who feel like everybody should see this show and line up people and will buy blocks of tickets and give them to school kids. So they ended up wanting to close it in mid-May instead of having it run through August. There was a groundswell of some public support, so now they've moved the closing date through, I think, June 4th. So you do have 1 or 2 more weeks to see For Colored Girls at the Booth Theater on Broadway. Normally at this juncture, before I get to my second review, I would let you know that you can check out the website totaltheater.com for bunches of reviews from all over the country by writers like Will Mannis out in Los Angeles, Mary Shank Barnage in Chicago, Ann Siegel, Marie J. Kilker. All of them have been on this program.
Watching. She didn't dictate, but she should be watching.
But yeah, so you can read them in totaltheater.com for free. Only problem is right now all my websites are down. They're having an issue with my server. So I'm hoping by tomorrow things will be back up and running. If they're not, old Dave's going to be pretty mad. But anywho, write it down, look it up later in the week, totaltheater.com. Okay, let's move on to more inside Broadway and the show that I saw on Thursday night, a revival of Paula Vogel's play, How I Learned to Drive, done by the Manhattan Theater Club at their Broadway house, the Samuel J. Friedman Theater. I remember seeing this off-Broadway 25 years ago and thinking, well, this is a darn good play, and it's a tough, I think the brilliance of it, the genius of it even, of what Paula Vogel does here, is she takes an incredibly ooky, creepy, upsetting topic and makes it into a drama. She doesn't turn into a satirical farce or anything, but a drama that just goes by seemingly easily, seemingly like, she's not going to drag you into the what's my line in hell of my show. She's literally like, okay, here's a short scene, and this is, some undercurrents here are not very savory, and there's kind of a comic scene, and here's a bit of a darker scene, but you're going to go through all this story of a girl. The play begins when she's 17 years old. It's 1969, and then it takes her backwards and forwards in time. But what's happening is she has this seemingly lovely relationship with her Uncle Peck, who is an alcoholic who's trying to lay off the sauce, and he's generally great when he's off it, kind of, and he teaches her all sorts of things, and he's so wise, and he gets along with her better than she gets along with anyone else in the family. Problem with Uncle Peck is that since she was 11 years old, he's been sexually attracted to her and been grooming her. And even though they haven't done they've done quite a bit of other things over the years leading up to like the scene where she turns 18 and he's hoping to celebrate with her because now he legally can. So you're just watching this whole thing, and again, ordinarily it's, oh God, this is going to be, I'm going to dread every scene. It's going to be so dark. It's going to be like Martin McDonagh. And instead, Paula Vogel, and there's some apparently autobiographical basis for what's happening in the play. She's just like, no, just follow this character through, and both of them, and see how he's kind of, he has his agenda, but he's keeping it on the back burner, and he knows that he's doing wrong, but he's trying not to be wrong, and he's trying to let the ball be in her court. But of course, since he is like 25 years older than this very young teenager, anything that he's doing, even with what he calls the best of intentions, is not really that well intended. So it's just this fascinating show that you follow along and you hang on every word. And of course, the acting is terrific. These were the same actors who did the show back when it was off Broadway 2.5 decades ago. So they brought back David Morse's Uncle Peck and Mary Louise Parker as Little Bit, which is quite wonderful, because, I mean, it's not as if Parker was a literal teenager when the show first started, but she was like in her 20s maybe, or early 30s. And now she's in her 50s, still very youthful, still believable when she needs to be, as like someone in her teens, and someone who is discovering things about herself, both aspects of her sexuality, positive and negative. This idea that from the moment when Uncle Peck became physical with her, when she was 11, that she ended up living out of her body. But at the same time, knowing what her sexuality is, being able to use that, to feel that about herself, she brings all of that to the table. And there are just moments that are absolutely fascinating in the way she brings that out. In the way she goes from being a very shy girl to somewhat being a little flirty with her uncle, of posing for pictures that he's taking, and understanding that you can go from a normal smile to being very come hither with just a look like that. And then realizing finally when she's 18 and she's lived away at college for a few months, and she realized what was emotionally done to her, of just how broken she is and how she has become an alcoholic herself. And I don't think I gave enough credit to this play when it played 25 years ago. It's only grown in stature. The performances have only grown in stature. There's two other characters who play people in the family as well. They're good. How I Learned to Drive. If we're doing out of 5 stars, I would give this 4.5 stars at the Samuel J. Friedman on Broadway. Remember, this is one of the theaters where you still need your vaccination card and your mask. Give us 4.5 of those. I'll give you a half. It's a major play, and again, its majorness is not just that it's so subtle about certain things, about the way people try and control other people, and the way women are groomed, and the way they feel guilty about what they are and aren't doing. But it's also the breeziness of it, and the other play that I had seen by Paula Vogel 20-something, almost 30 years ago, that she had done before this, was another wonderful play I wish they would revive, called The Baltimore Waltz. And it was the same thing. It was a light, almost farcical, breezy show that just pulls the rug under you at the very end with something, and then you realize, oh my God. So Vogel, quite a writer, and it is absolutely a terrific thing that they have brought How I Learned to Drive
He waited till
to Broadway.
It's your ice cream man. It's the ice cream man.
You probably can't hear that at home, but
think
I'm
he's out
literally
front. Is
hearing
he out front?
the sound.
I
He's
think
not.
He's out front.
I can't see him from here. But if you can hear the Mr. Softy Draw, I told you you see boobs today.
He's
Mr.
somewhere close because I hear him getting louder and louder.
If you've been watching the
Just
show
keep
the
looking,
last few
keep
weeks,
looking.
you know my. Oh, here he is.
You didn't look it, but show them. You didn't have any.
No, not
Here's
today and not
So
yesterday
this
either.
is your
It was
calendar.
boring.
This is David's calendar.
Yeah.
And the things that are like little brown dots, those are all ice creams. So he had many in that month, but this month he didn't have enough ice creams.
This is true. This is
You're ice cream
unfortunate.
lacking.
Mm.
This week you had look this week nothing.
Well,
Nothing.
no ice cream at all this
No,
week.
last week you had 3.
Right.
The first week of May you had solamente uno. The second week you had 1, 2, 3, and then this week nothing.
Oh my.
And you only have 2 more days.
I'm hoping that today will be the ice
After
cream
you
day.
go to the flea market, we'll go to the.
Yes.
You know.
So, anyway, that is a very strange ending for Inside Broadway. But hey,
Maybe that should be
soft
our
ice
theme.
cream
Do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
and the theater, these are two things that the old Dave doesn't ever want to have to live without. Inside and outside Broad. Where the hell's the song? Here it is. No, not that. Where's my, here it is.
It's the famous gay white way, where the night is bright as day. Ain't Broadway grand.
Doodle-doo.
It's not just a thoroughfare, it's a tingle in the air. Ain't Broadway grand?
Doodle-doo.
It's excitement, it's romance, it's all fun and song and dance. This wonderland, you can be a millionaire quicker here than anywhere. Ain't Broadway grand?
Yes, ain't Broadway grand. By the way, if people are wondering, that catchy number was from a Broadway show called Ain't Broadway Grand. I think I was the only theater critic who liked that show. But isn't that a cool number? Isn't that, I could listen to that number. I do listen to that number every week here in the Daverhood on Dave's Gone By. I'm Dave Lefkowitz. That's my darling and adorable wife, Joyce. I normally would tell you at this point to go check out my website, davesgoneby.com, for all the archives, and davelefkowitz.org for my writings. Both of those websites are currently down, which I am not thrilled about, but hopefully will migrate the content and everything will be okay. Fingers crossed. All right, so we still have some poetry to get to. Oh yes, I mean, and better than any of the poetry in this old show. We have a 5-line limerick coming at you soon. But first, let's talk about the Friends of the Daverhood. Got a lot of them today. Now, Friends of the Daverhood are folks who have been on Dave's Gone By, whether it was 15 years ago or 10 or 5 years ago or just a couple of months ago. We're thrilled that we've had all these wonderful guests like Ricky Ritzel, whom you can go see.
Who was the won?
Who won our Today Yesterday quiz and will be at Don't Tell
How
Mama.
many other people have won when they were guests?
And first timers too. Like Vicky has pulled out a victory or two, but not
But
first.
I don't know, like that. That's really
Yeah.
special.
I don't know if John Peelmeyer has come close. He may have won one. I'm not 100% sure. But congratulations to Ricky Ritzel. Go see him this coming Friday night at Don't Tell Mama. Also, he'll be there. He's there once a month. He'll be Friday, June 24th at Don't Tell Mama Club on West 46th Street. He is our new friend of the neighborhood, joining a bunch of cabaret people that we've had on the show, especially recently. We had Seth Beeson Hirsch, and we had Sidney Meyer a couple of years ago, and we've had, Jay Rogers, we were talking about him, not to mention a lot of people who are front of piano and the front performers too. So, he's a friend of the neighborhood, as are Leslie Hoban Blake and David Sheward, as is Rabbi Sal Solomon. His website, check that one, and that's probably down too. ShalomDammit.com. Shit. Anyway, but check his Twitter feed. At Rabbi Sal Solomon. At Rabbi Sal Solomon. All this stuff I hope by next week will be back up. But all these other folks who've been on the show, what are they doing now? We'll tell you. Our friends of the Daverhood. So let me tell you, first of all, that tonight, Ann Hampton Calloway is at Feinstein's 54 Below. Not only that, but this is the night she's not only in person, but they will be live streaming it. So go to Feinstein's website, Feinstein's 54 Below, for Ann Hampton Calloway happening tonight. Gretchen Cryer is directing the play, and it ends today, A Good Girl Doesn't. That is at the Cherry Lane Theater on Commerce Street. And then, our beloved Tammy Faye Starlight. She is going to be at Joe's Pub tonight as one of the special guests of singer-songwriter Esther Balint. So Tammy Faye, and I'm pretty sure it's Tammy Faye Starlight and not Tamar. But see either one of them. That is at Joe's Pub on Lafayette Street, right near the Public Theater. I want to let you know that tonight Eric Comstock and Barbara Fasano are going to be at Birdland. They're there pretty much every Saturday night, I think at 5 o'clock. So go see them. Birdland Jazz Club, Eric Comstock and Barbara Fasano together. Want to let you know that tomorrow, Songbook Sundays at Dizzy's Club in Lincoln Center. I did not know this existed, but Karen Ziemba is taking part in that. That's tomorrow. It might be an afternoon thing at Lincoln Center's Dizzy's Club Songbook Sundays. And then a whole bunch of stuff happening on Monday, May 23rd. First of all, Scott Siegel's latest installment of Broadway by the Year at Town Hall. This one is From Ziegfeld Follies to Moulin Rouge. So Scott Siegel has kind of some of the same idea as Ricky Ritzel does, where there's certainly like a bigger, higher level in Town Hall, but he gets these Broadway and cabaret performers to do songs from various shows, sometimes grouped by the year that they opened, or these days it's more grouped by a theme. Broadway by the Year at Town Hall this Monday night. Also Monday night, Christine Petty hosts Soundbites One-Act Musical Festival. That is at Merkin Concert Hall up on West 67th Street. Lisa Loeb is taking part in the Hollywood version out in California of the 24-hour musicals. That is at the Bourbon Room over in LA. And then finally on Monday night, LaChanze will be teaming with Schuler Hensley to co-host the High School Theater Festival at the Winter Garden Theater. That might be in the afternoon, actually. You might want to check on that. But congrats to our friend LaChanze. On Tuesday, the 24th, Jerry Blavitt and friends at the PNC Center in Holmdel, New Jersey. Now, Jerry Blavitt is a longtime radio disc jockey. I mean, going back to like the 50s and 60s. He was on this program, and now his main thing is getting these old nostalgia 50s and 60s acts together on one bill, the kind of shows you see on PBS TV, and either putting them on a cruise or bringing them to places like Holmdel, New Jersey. So Jerry Blavitt will be Jerry Blavitt and Friends on Tuesday, and one of his friends is our friend Gary U.S. Bonds. So see them both at the PNC Center Tuesday night. Lilias White will be doing her Sarah Vaughan show at Feinstein's 54 Below. That is happening this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Lilias White. Also, Friday through Sunday, you've got the Lower East Side Festival of the Arts, featuring people like our friends Austin Pendleton, Austin Pendleton alert, and Phoebe Legere. Happening also from Friday, starting Friday, and then running for a month at Seattle Repertory Theater. Carl Gottlieb's book, The Jaws Log, because he wrote the screenplay for Jaws, is being adapted into the musical Bruce, which may eventually come to New York, depending on how it does in Seattle. So go see Bruce, the musical, based on Carl Gottlieb's The Jaws Log. It'll be running for a month, starting late this week in Seattle. Reminding you, let's see, J. Elijah Cho, or as we call him, Jonathan, he's doing his solo Mr. Yunioshi at Soho Playhouse. He's already gotten one review from DC Metro Arts. It's a rave. So go see it now through the end of May at the Soho Playhouse on Van Dam Street. Michael Takip, he's going to be starting his show, Jews, God, and History, running through early June. That is at the Flea Theater's Siggy Theater downtown. And on Broadway, Girl from the North Country at the Belasco features our friend J.O. Sanders. The Lucky Star at 59E59 Theaters off-Broadway features our friend Stuart Zagnit. Katsura Sunshine's Rakugo, Japanese storytelling, being done at New World Stages every Thursday. Austin Pendleton, again, another Austin Pendleton alert, on Broadway in the Minutes at Studio 54. Christian Knoll is in Dear Evan Hansen, that is at the Music Box Theater. Larry Kerwin co-wrote Paradise Square, the Broadway musical, which is choreographed by our friend Bill T. Jones. Amanda Green did the excellent lyrics for Mr. Saturday Night. She's totally nominated for them, in fact. That is at the Niederlander Theater. Ray Bachor is playing Amos in Chicago at the Ambassador. Alan Menken wrote the music for Aladdin at the New Amsterdam Theater. And every Monday night, Jim Caruso's cast party at Birdland. Go to birdlandjazz.com for tickets. Go visit stagebuddy.com for information about New York nightlife. A tip of our hat to the founder of that website, Evan Seplow. Dr. Demento, still doing Dr. Demento shows at drdemento.com. Bob Cudmore doing podcasts about upstate New York history at bobcudmore.com. Go see Late Night Catechism in Chicago at the Greenhouse Theater. Vicky Quaddy created that, and she's often in it. And finally, let's pick one more. Check out the Apple podcast, Tom Papa, Breaking Bread with Tom Papa. He was on our show a few weeks ago. He's a comedian, but he's also learning how to bake bread. That's his great hobby. So he's put those together in his podcast that he does a couple of times a month. It's Tom Papa, Breaking Bread with Tom Papa on Apple Podcasts. And those, my friends, are the friends of the Daverhood. Oh, hug time. Hug me to those capacious bosoms of yours. Come, bring those bosoms onto the camera, please. All right, enough with the bosoming. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Leftwitz, live on this Saturday morning, May 21st, 2022. It really is our 850th episode. As I said, you know what? I mentioned that right now my websites are down. So you can't go to davesgoneby.com to see the older shows. But don't forget that we've archived all our stuff at archive.org. You can find it there, archive.org. Our interviews are in a separate, are posted there too. It's all one channel, the Dave's Gone By channel. Plus every episode from the very first one, our 10th, our 110th, our 610th, just literally, except for 2 or 3 that we lost owing to technical difficulties. And a couple sound... That could have been it, yeah. But really, we've tried to save and salvage every minute that we've spent on the air, which is now tens of thousands of minutes. Well, at least 10,000 minutes, easily. And, well, thousands of hours of the show at this point. It's all there at archive.org. If you just care about the audio, you can hear the podcasts at castbox.fm. See,
even though you can't load to the website, are you uploading to Castbox?
Yeah.
So people can listen.
And archive.org also.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking like people like Friendy who want to. Friendy usually listens afterward because sometimes they have appointments or whatnot. They can still listen on the Castbox.
And also, you can go to our YouTube channel. So, some of our YouTube shows are muted because of copyright issues when we've been playing music. I'm a little worried, honestly, because we played Ricky Ritzel doing I'm Still Here.
Yeah, but it sounded more, it wasn't like pre-recorded. It sounded like someone was just singing.
But maybe they'll hear the lyrics and like, we know that song. You owe money to ASCAP and BMI. I'm like, fuck you.
Alexa? Like a Google Alexa, like they have some machine listener.
Yeah, they do.
Wow, big brother.
So I'm hoping that goes through without a problem.
Me too.
But so if it does, then you'll be able to see this episode on YouTube like tomorrow. And you can also watch all our previous episodes over the past 4 years that we've done as video right on this Facebook page. So it's not as if, you're jonesing for Dave's Gone By. You know people who want to see the show, and it's like, oh no, the website's down, you can't see it at all. There's tons of Dave's Gone By out there on the interwebs. Archive.org, Castbox.fm, the YouTube channel, you can find it there. And don't forget, if you are on Long Island in Nassau County, and you get Altice Cable, Tuesday nights, 9:30 in the evening, a 1-hour excerpt of a Dave's Gone By recent episode, fairly, from a few months ago, just at random, just for funsies. 9:30 to 10:30 Tuesday nights on Channel 20 on Altice Cable. We call it Highlights of the Daverhood. That's what it is. It's just random stuff from Dave's Gone By. Check it out. Okay, well, my dear, we've done so much today. We had our Today Yesterday trivia quiz with our winner, Ricky Ritzel. We had our Colorado... guess what? We haven't yet had our Colorado Limerick of the Damned.
Oh, I thought that was done.
No. So, Joyce and I lived for a bunch of years in Colorado, and I got it into my head for no good reason. Certainly, nothing I ever do is for a good reason. To write a poem a week about all these various places in Colorado. We call them limericks. They're the 5-line poems. First 2 lines rhyme with the last rhyme. There's a middle rhyme in between. And generally, as limericks would be, they're a little bit naughty, raunchy, comical, disgusting, horrible, evil, vicious, vile, decrepit. Basically, which is what they're supposed to be. That's why there are Colorado Limericks of the Damned, where this week we go to Genesee, Colorado.
You're the poetry man. A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 will end with words that rhyme. And likewise, verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick. Rocky Mountain, Colorado, Colorado.
Well, this one isn't actually horrible sexually or in terms of language. It's actually and kind of even appropriate considering the show I was just talking about. But first, let me tell you a little something about Genesee, Colorado. It's an unincorporated community in the central part of the state. It's really still part of the greater Denver metro area. Got about 3,600 people in it. It's at the foothills of the Rockies and features Genesee Park. And it's the kind of community, it's sort of a planned community with nice malls and swimming pools and everybody looking out for each other. Sheriff's deputies, if you call them, they will check on your home when you're on vacation. It's that kind of place. And this weekend, strange as this may sound, they got half a foot of snow. Yeah, the Greeley, that whole area, all of it. They're getting weird weather. It's not even the middle of May. It's late May already. So, in honor of our shoveling Geneseans today, here's a Colorado Limerick of the Damned for Genesee. A troubled young fellow from Genesee was quite the vehicular menace he once drove down the street while under his feet were 5 empty bottles of Hennessy.
That one was tame.
It was very tame, very tame.
That one was,
Yeah, I mean, it's in some ways it's worse than some because it's like an alcoholic driver, but still.
But it's not like there's no killing, there's no slang for any body part. I think you're up in your game.
At least in this one, rhyme something else with Genesee, How yellow was his ugly penis pee? So, that thing.
That's not really.
If it was Genesee.
You did a great job on that one.
Well, thank you very much. Oh, and I would say that you can read all of my old.
Somebody's writing about
the
musical Michael Jackson. Can you separate the artist from the art?
Yes, you can.
Okay. No, that's what they're saying. It's on the Facebook. It's not me.
Yeah, yeah.
But they're saying, can you do it? So that was a question.
You absolutely can.
When you review it again or more, you could talk about that.
Yeah. So here's the deal. We are coming up on 20 minutes to 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and we've pretty much covered whatever. Is there anything you want to talk about here? You want to talk about separating the art from the artist? I feel like we've talked about it.
Get to your yard sale.
I want to get to my yard sales and find some soft serve ice cream. I can't believe the guy played the tune outside my window while I was still on the air. He knows I'm jonesing. He knows it's been a few days since I've had my soft serve ice cream. And, I'm sorry, I have to hear it. I have to hear it.
You have it, oh yeah. You should have played that.
The most beautiful sound I've ever heard.
It was beautiful.
Good humor. I just heard the sounds of good humor.
Yeah.
And suddenly my tonsils
You love it.
won't need more orthodontals. Yeah, well, I'll work on it. Anyway, what we've been working on here is the day has gone by 850th episode of the show. Are we done? Am I calling it a day? It's been almost 20 years. In October, we will have been on the air 20 freaking years doing this. And look at all the fame and fortune I've gained.
Mad, you know?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, it's in some ways, it's been an incredibly fun and extraordinary ride. But no. I mean, next week, next week, 8:51. Not sure who the guest, or if we'll even have a guest next week, but we're going to do it. And don't forget, on 3 weeks away, not next week or the week after, but June 11th will be I think it's like 17th, nearly annual Dave's Gone By Total Theater Tony Show, which will be all about celebrating the Broadway season. It'll be the day before the actual Tony Awards. We will have interviews with all these critics weighing in on the Tony nominations, which who deserves to win, whom they think who will win, plus anybody who was snubbed, as Leslie was talking about, plus other thoughts about coming back to the theater, post-pandemic, and cranking up a very, very busy and active Broadway season, even despite variants and Omicron and masks and vaccines and New York crime and everything else. It is rather amazing that the fabulous invalid crawled to the place where it is right now and is walking pretty darned upright. But that's all for June 11th. Our usual time will go from 9 until about 11 for our Tony special. But before then, we'll have a show, and we'll have another show, as I said, next Saturday, 9 until noon or thereabouts, right here on this Facebook page. Check the Facebook page during the week to see what will be coming up. And I'm hoping in a day or two, when you check one of my websites, it will be up and running again. davesgoneby.com, davelefkowitz.org, shalomdammit.com for the Rabbi. Yeah, totaltheater.com. It's a I don't want to talk about it.
It's an empire.
I just don't want to. If Bluehost doesn't fix this, I'll have some things to say about Bluehost next week. Believe me. Anyway.
Is there any other thing? What's another Bluehost type place?
Well, no. There's a few. There's a bunch.
Okay.
So we'll figure this out. But until then, don't miss your days going by. Have a fine week. Enjoy the end of May. Suddenly we're gonna jump from like early fall to midsummer. At least in Manhattan, it's going to be close to 90 today and tomorrow. That's just what it is. Here in the Daverhood, love you, hon. Thank you so much for your help. Big shout out to Ricky Ritzel. Go see him Friday night at Don't Tell Mama, 7 o'clock.
Next Friday.
Yeah, a week from yesterday, 7 p.m.
Yeah.
He will be doing his show at Don't Tell Mama in Manhattan. And a big shout out, of course, to David, Sheward, Leslie, Hoban, Blake, and Rabbi Saul Solomon. And most of all, to all of you for watching. Make it a great week. And gone. Oh, like, play a little more. Oh.
No, David, no, that's not ice cream, honey. No.
No?
Bad. Not food. No.
Potatoes food? Okay, yeah. Bye-bye, folks.